A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
This I believe. Mrs. Madge Whitney is a social worker. For more than 20 years, she has worked for the Children's Aid Society of West Texas. She grew up on a cattle ranch in Colorado, and after graduating from college, she taught school for 3 years. Mrs. Whitney now lives in Wichita Falls, Texas. Here is her creed.
I may say, be honest, clean, kind, and try to think first of the other person. This sounds easy, but it is really quite difficult to practice at all times. The great teacher gave us a new commandment in simple language, which, could we but live by it, would solve all moral and spiritual problems. I believe, then, it is my duty to try to live by this rule. Imagination and tolerance should aid me to see the other person's viewpoint, and this would help build a better understanding, thus bringing a more logical judgment in regard to their problem. I believe I cannot find any real happiness built upon the unhappiness of others. I can find much happiness out of simple pleasures. I like the smell of baking bread, the smell of the approaching shower, of the petunia bed after the rain, the glowing sunset, the blue haze in the lowlands as you top a hill and see over, the glitter of the moon on the rolling surf, the redbird's call, the loving glance of a friend's eye as you meet, and so many other everyday incidents that money cannot buy. When tragedy dealt me a great blow, the only thing to do was to carry on with what was left me. I believe congenial, interesting, hard work is the best way to live through sorrow and disappointment. I learned then that outside things did not matter, or just cluttered up my life, that my inner life must have the satisfaction that comes from doing some worthwhile work. Any work which helps mold and build youth for the coming generation will, I believe, bring this inner satisfaction. Poet John Masefield once wrote, "And he who gives a child a treat makes joy bells ring in heaven's street. And he who gives a child a home builds palaces in kingdom come." This I believe to be the very essence of all social work. Soon after the death of my husband, I became associated with an organization which strives to aid any child in need or distress. Having no children of my own, this type of work has been a great solace to me through the years. There's nothing in the world to me as interesting, as charming, and as original as a young child. Nothing can be as important as helping children develop into happy and useful citizens, and to have had a small part in such an enterprise gives me a feeling of pleasure. There was little Bill with a club foot who had to go away for surgery. I sent him some little cars. Afterward, I called on him. The first thing he said to me was, "Miss Whitney, did you send me those little cars and things, or did the welfare?" So it is not what you give, but how much of you goes with it that counts. I hope and plan to continue to be a mother by proxy. I believe I am a product of all that has gone before. I should cherish this heritage and also be interested in the present history in the making. I believe if I have an abiding faith and can keep my sense of humor alive so that I can take my troubles with a pinch of salt, that life can be a very pleasant experience.
That was Mrs. Madge Whitney of Wichita Falls, Texas. Though over 60, she insists on continuing a life full of activity, dedicated principally to underprivileged children.
The way that gives that natural look is T-O-N-I, Tony.
Tony Home Permanent, the wave that gives that natural look, brings you Crime Photographer. Good evening, everyone. This is Bill Cullen greeting you for Tony Home Permanent and inviting you to listen to another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole, our adventure for tonight, Holiday. Thanksgiving Day, early afternoon. Among the crowd that strolls idly by the Blue Note Cafe is a slight, worried-looking man who, unlike the other strollers, doesn't appear to be in a holiday mood. Biff Connors.
Huh?
Hey, remember me, fella? Casey, Morning Express.
Sure, I remember you. Hi, Casey.
Couldn't be better. Biff, I haven't seen you since, gosh, it must be 3 years.
Closer to 4.
I guess it is. Miss Williams, let me introduce Mr. Connors.
Hello, Mr. Connors.
Nice to meet you, Miss Williams.
Heard some nice things about you, Biff. They tell me you're married now, raising a family, got your own business, doing fine.
Yeah, well, I got to be running along. It's nice seeing you, Casey. Being introduced to you, Miss Williams. So long.
Well, so long, Biff.
That was short and sweet. Your friend could hardly contain his joy at meeting you.
Yeah.
You look worried, Casey. I don't think his mind is really on you. Who is he?
Well, he used to be one of the cleverest safecrackers in the country.
Safecracker.
He knew more about safes than the people that make them. Well, he did keep him out of jail, though. He served 3 stretches.
You don't usually introduce me to your criminal associates.
Biff wasn't the usual kind of criminal, Annie. Since his last term in the big house, he's going absolutely straight, too. I know that. Yeah, I hope nothing's gone wrong with the guy.
Oh, probably not. Ah, here's the Blue Note.
Let me push open the door for you.
You?
Well, look who's here.
Hi, pal.
Good afternoon, Ethelbert.
Happy Thanksgiving to both of you.
And to you?
In big red letters.
Had your turkey and trimmings yet?
No, we plan to go to a movie and then have dinner about 7 o'clock.
You having it here?
What? Thanksgiving dinner in this joint? Oh, not a chance.
What's the matter with this joint? The chef's putting out $1.75 special today.
Casey's taking me to the Ritz for dinner. And then we're going to a play.
Yep.
Movies in the afternoon, the Ritz for dinner, and then an evening show, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You are having a holiday.
We're not going to waste any of it hanging around here, as much as we love you, Edward.
Oh. Casey, it just came to my mind. As of November 1st, you owe us on your October bill.
Oh, well, that's all right, Edward. Just carry it over to December. I'm going to need all the dough I've got on me today, I think.
Yeah, and you'll need all you got on you in December. I don't like to dun a pal, Casey, but I know you.
Huh? Oh, hello, Biff.
Mr.
Excuse
Connors.
me for butting in like this, Miss Williams, but Casey, after I left you outside, I got to thinking...
Oh, we're glad to see you again, fella. How about having...
No, thanks. I hope you'll excuse me, Miss Williams. Casey, if I ain't asking too much, will you step outside with me while... So I can talk to you alone?
Well,
I'd appreciate it, Casey, lots.
Sure, go ahead, Casey. I'll wait for you here.
Oh, well, okay, Annie, thanks. Okay, Biff.
Thanks a million.
You look awful worried, fella. What's this all about? Are you a busy professional woman, a teacher, a nurse, perhaps a business career girl? Well, Tony Home Permanent is a blessing for busy women like you. It takes so little time to give yourself the most natural-looking wave you've ever had with Tony. You don't have to spend half a day away from home. You don't have to sit under a hot dryer. While your Tony wave is taking, you can listen to the radio, read, do anything you like. This weekend, get the Tony Kit, complete with plastic curlers for just $2. Follow the simple directions and see how convenient it is to give yourself the loveliest wave you've ever had with Tony Home Permanent. The wave that gives that natural look.
T-O-N-I, Tony.
Turn into the side street, Casey. It ain't too crowded. We can talk.
Okay, Biff.
I oughtn't wish this on you, Casey. You ain't a guy who owes me anything. But after I run into you by accident a while ago, I got to thinking that maybe it was one of them signs. You see, I'd been praying.
Well,
Biff. You was always a regular in my book, and I got to thinking that maybe you was the one guy in the world I could turn to for help.
Yeah, well, what kind of help do you need? I'm not so heavy with dough. I had plans for the day, but if you've got to have...
No, I don't want any money.
Oh. Well, you're not in trouble, then. Wait a minute. You in wrong with the cops again?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Casey, I've been 100% straight since I came out of stir last time. I asked you to believe that.
I believe you, Biff.
The wife and I built up a nice little business. We got a store uptown, tobacco, candy, toys, stationery. Things were going along just swell until 2 weeks ago.
What happened then?
A couple of guys come into my store with a proposition. They wanted me to crack a safe.
Yeah?
They offered me $5,000 to do the job.
Nice money.
I told them where to go with it. And a couple of days later, they come back. They raised their offer to $10,000. They threw them out of the place.
Gone.
Well, that didn't get me nothing. He told me I'd play along with them or else. And then this morning I found a loaded .45 caliber automatic under my candy counter.
What? A gun?
Yeah. I'm an ex-con, Casey, a 3-time loser. You know what it'd mean for me if the cops found a gat in my possession?
You'd get the book.
Sure, I'd be put away for keeps. The gun was planted under that counter, Casey, sometime during the night. I wrapped it up. I made an excuse to the wife that I had to come downtown, and I went to the North Bridge, and I dropped it in the river.
This gun was left where you'd be sure to find it.
Yeah. It wasn't meant as a frame, just as a hint of what'll happen if I don't play ball.
Well, the two guys been around to follow up their hint?
I don't know. I ain't been back to the store.
Oh.
Since I left the bridge, I've just been walking around trying to think. Wife don't know anything about them guys in the proposition. I ain't told her. And I can't tell her. She knows all about my record. You can figure how scared she'd be.
And you haven't told the cops?
Does a guy like me ever run to the cops?
Well, it'd be smart if you ran to them this time.
No.
Why not?
In the first place, they wouldn't believe me. An ex-con. They figure I was trying to put something over. I can't blame them, Casey.
Well, I could tell them.
You gotta promise me you won't.
Well, Biff,
listen. Suppose they did believe me. What happens? They set a trap for the guys who propositioned me. Them guys got friends who'll know that the squeal that the cops acted on had to come from me. My life wouldn't be worth a nickel.
Yeah. Guess you got something.
Promise
there.
me you won't say nothing to the cops, Casey. You got it.
Well, what do you want me to do, Biff?
I don't know. I just had to talk to somebody, that's all. For a guy I knew was right, and I ain't got such a good head, Casey. I figured maybe you could figure my way out.
Well, thanks for the compliment. Well, who are the guys that came to you with this proposition?
I don't know. They didn't tell me their names.
Well, I get around a little. What do they look like?
One was tall and skinny, had a long face and big yellow teeth. He kind of looks like a horse.
Yeah?
The other's a little dark guy, heavy set.
Oh, wait a minute. The one you say looks like a horse, has he got a long scar on his neck?
Yeah, like somebody done a shiv job on it.
Can't be two mugs who answer to that description. Scar neck, horse face must be Jake Bannister. Head strong-arm goon for Nick Reynolds.
Nick Reynolds?
Well, you must know who he is.
Well, the name's familiar, but...
Hey, you are out of touch with the rackets, kid. Nick Reynolds is the Mr. Big behind some of the dirtiest crooked work that goes on in this town. But he poses as a solid, respectable business guy, and the cops have never been able to nail him. Oh, wait a minute. Tell me more about the little heavy-set mug.
Well, he looks... He's got a cauliflower ear like a pug. And he stinks of perfume.
Tony Chef. He's another of Reynolds' guys. This is beginning to sound like hot stuff. I don't suppose they told you whose safe they want opened, huh?
No.
They tell you anything about it?
Only there was a small house safe, a real tough one. That's what he needed, an old hotshot like me.
And they offered you dough to crack it, $10,000. They didn't say anything about giving you a share of what's in it.
That's right. I got a notion there isn't any dough in the box to share, Casey. Just something that somebody wants and is willing to pay high for.
Think you can find out from those guys where the box is, the location of the house, and who lives there?
Well, they won't tell me unless I say I'll play ball with them.
No, that's right, they won't. Look, Biff, go back to your store. They ought to be paying you a visit there today after planting that gun. Try to learn all you can. And then... Well, I've made other plans for this afternoon, but I'll stick around the Blue Note. I'll write down the number of a phone booth there so we can talk in private when you call. There, here it is.
Thanks, Casey.
I got a dinner date for around 7 that I can't break, fella, and then I'll be tied up for the rest of the evening, so if your guys don't show by 7, well, things are going to have to just ride a while, I guess. But in the meantime, I'll be running down a little tip I got on Nick Reynolds.
A tip?
Yeah, it's just a piece of gossip I didn't think much of until I heard your story. Now it may mean something. Well, so long, Biff. Take it easy now and try not to worry, huh?
Yeah, I'll try, but you remember you promised me, Casey. You won't tell the cops.
Yeah, that's right. I won't tell the cops.
And because your ex-convict friend is so worried, Casey, you leave me sitting here in the Blue Note for most of the afternoon.
Well, I phoned you. I'd be a little delayed,
Yeah,
Annie.
a little delayed. Look at the time. It's nearly 5 o'clock. You were taking me to the movies this afternoon. Remember?
Oh, please, kid, what's a movie when a guy's in a jam?
Oh, yeah, the poor fellow is in a bad spot.
Yeah, he's in a terrible spot from what Casey's told us, Miss Williams. And I don't see what can be done about it without help from the cops.
And if they're brought into the picture, Ethelbert, Biff would be killed for squealing. Nick Reynolds is behind this thing, and he plays rough.
Casey, you said you'd been following up a tip on Reynolds?
Yeah.
What?
You know Monty Summers, Annie? Of the Summers Detective Agency?
Yeah, Summers Blackmail Bureau would be a better name for his outfit.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Summers is a shakedown artist of the dirtiest kind. He's done a lot of work for Nick Reynolds, but he doesn't work for him anymore. There's been a bust-up.
Yeah, I heard that.
Well, my tip was that Summers pulled the old double-cross and collected evidence against his boss, Reynolds, enough to send him away for life. Now, Reynolds is supposed to be paying him plenty to keep that evidence under his hat.
Well, that tip sounds like a phony. Reynolds wouldn't pay a blackmailer. He'd have him bumped off.
Well, sure, like you just said, Casey, Nick Reynolds plays rough.
Yeah, but he's too smart to play rough when he stands to lose by it, though. If Summers has the goods on Reynolds, it's in documentary form. It won't be destroyed by his death. It's a cinch that Summers has convinced his old boss that the stuff will be made public if he's killed or if he disappears.
Yeah, that's so.
But, Casey, what's it got to do with your friend Biff Connors?
Ethelbert, 2 of Nick Reynolds' trusted hoods offer Biff a flat sum, not a share, to open a house safe.
You mean?
Well, it could be Monty Summers' documentary evidence that Reynolds wants.
I see.
And if it is,
Sure.
and we could get it, Casey. Oh, what a story.
What a story. With exclusive pictures, too. It'd be worth missing an afternoon movie for, wouldn't it, kid?
I'll say.
And if the evidence got Nick Reynolds sent to jail, this town would be a much better place to live in. But how is this theory of yours going to help Biff Connors, Casey?
It doesn't. It's a complication. Well, since Biff hasn't phoned, I guess Reynolds' mugs didn't show up at his place. He's probably taking a holiday off.
No, I'd like a little holiday myself. And away from this place. I'm hungry, Casey. Let's start for the Ritz.
Well, it's not nearly 7 o'clock yet, Annie. I told the
If
guy...
he phones, I'll tell him you've gone to the Ritz, Casey, and a call.
Oh, no, Ethelbert. I'm not going to have my Thanksgiving dinner spoiled by phone calls for Casey.
Well, you're so anxious to get out of the good old Blue Note, Miss Williams, I thought...
Well, you think again. After we leave here, you tell nobody where to reach us. We're going to have the rest of this day to ourselves.
Yeah, you do as Miss Williams says, pal. Really nothing I can do for Biff tonight, and he's going to stall those guys anyway.
Whatever you say, Casey.
Yeah. Well, come on, Annie.
At last, we're going places.
That's right. So long, Ethelbert.
So long.
Oh, Mr. Casey.
Yes, Walter.
Phone call for you in the booth. Mr. Connors.
Uh-oh.
No.
Excuse me, Annie.
I might have known, Ethelbert. I might have known.
Hello, Casey speaking.
This is Biff Connors.
Anything happen?
Plenty. Some guys were here, and I couldn't stall them like you told me, Casey.
Couldn't stall.
No, they said they'd get my wife and kid if I didn't fall in line. They weren't bluffing. I gotta do their job tonight at 12, or else.
12 tonight?
Yeah, I promised them I will, and I have to. There's no way you or anybody else can help me now, pal. I just phoned because I said I would, and you wouldn't have kept hanging around till 7 o'clock. That's all. So long.
Hey, wait a minute. Don't hang up.
No use talking,
Listen,
Casey.
Biff. After you promised those guys that you'd do their job, did they tell you where it's going to be?
Yeah. But you know what you promised me, Casey.
Yeah.
No cops.
You've got to trust me, fella. Now, give me that address, will you?
Okay. It's on Riker Avenue, number 390.
390 Riker.
That's right.
Those 2 guys will go there with you at 12 tonight?
Yeah, and they'll be watching me every minute, Casey, with guns in their mitts.
Well, listen. Stay in your store. I'll get in touch with you there by 10:30.
You got some plan, Casey? You think there's a chance?
There's a swell chance, Biff. There's every chance. Now, stop worrying, kid. You'll hear from me in a couple of hours. So long.
I got faith in you, Casey. So long.
Faith in a liar. I can't figure any chance.
Annie.
Yeah, I know. Don't tell me. We're not heading for the Ritz and turkey dinner.
No. We're going out to look over Monty Summers' house right now.
Oh, you mean Monty Summers, the blacksmith?
I looked up his address this afternoon just in case. He lives at 390 Riker Avenue. Come on, Annie, let's go.
Yeah, so long, Ethelbert.
So long. No Thanksgiving dinner for you two. Over this thing and through Father's house we go. The horse knows the way to carry the sleigh through the something or other.
Hi, Ethelbert. Say, wasn't that Casey and Miss Williams just leaving the blue note
Oh,
there?
hello, Mr. Cullen. Yeah, that was them.
Oh, they didn't speak to me.
Well, they was going so fast, they must not have seen you.
Yeah. Why the speed?
Well, they're trying to stop a safe cracker from cracking a safe he don't want to crack.
I don't quite follow you, Ethelbert, but I gather that crime does not take a holiday?
No. And Casey figured it would. He'd promised Miss Williams turkey and trimmings at the Ritz. That's where he made his mistake.
Mistake? Why, I'd call that a pretty sound idea for Thanksgiving Day.
Making a promise to a woman?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Cullen, that's always a mistake.
Oh, no, Ethelbert. Tony made a promise to millions of women, and it's been a great thing for everybody. You see, not many years ago, no one ever dreamed women could give themselves satisfactory permanence right at home. But Tony developed a gentle, cream-cold wave that they knew would give wonderful results with all types of hair. So they made a promise and backed it up with a guarantee. They said, Tony will give you a permanent that lasts just as long as a $15 beauty shop wave and is guaranteed to look more natural or your money back. And women were interested. They tried Tony, and the promise came true. They found they can give themselves waves and curls with Tony that are so soft and shiny they look like naturally curly hair. So they told their friends, and what's happened?
Are you asking me, or is that a Rita or Oracle question?
I guess everybody knows the answer, Ethelbert. Now, more than 1 million women each month use Tony Home Permanent.
More than 1 million?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of women.
Yes, each month another 1 million women give themselves lovely Tony waves.
That's a whale of a big house, Annie. Monty Summers lives well.
Oh, now that we're looking at it, Casey, what are you going to do?
And we've got to think as though we plan to crack a safe here ourselves.
The easiest to go in and out from the front.
Mm-hmm. See, I think I'd come here in a car. I'd park it under one of these trees. Not directly in front of the house, of course, but close enough for a quick getaway.
And leave a lookout in it?
No, I wouldn't do that. A guy sitting in a parked car might attract attention, which I don't want. I'd post a lookout, but he won't be in the car or even near it most of the time.
Well, now that that's decided, what do we do?
I don't know, kid. Trying to make us think, that's all. I'm pretty sure that Nick Reynolds will come here himself with Biff and those rodmen tonight. He'd trust nobody but himself to take that evidence out of the safe. He'll want it in his own hands to take it away and examine it, destroy it.
Well, if there's a chance of getting him, we've got to get the cops in on that.
But they catch Biff opening the safe. In spite of everything that we could say in a guy's favor, the law says that fourth offenders go up for life. We've got to catch Reynolds with the goods and at the same time keep Biff out of it.
It's a large order.
Sure is. I'm afraid it's too large, kid. I can't see any way to fill it.
Casey, if you and I came back here at midnight and hid ourselves, when Reynolds and Biff Connors and the others come out, we can cover them with a couple of guns. We'll capture Reynolds and his gang and let Biff Connors get away.
Annie, can you really picture you and me in a gangster movie act like that? We'd only get ourselves shot.
No, I guess we're not the right type. Why aren't we like some of the characters we see in the movies? They solve everything so easily by just drawing their trusty automatics and going bang, bang, bang.
Wish we were.
What am I, a woman or a mouse? In that western we saw last week, a gal my size captured a dozen tough cattle rustlers all by herself.
Well, her boyfriend was pretty good, too, don't forget.
Tall, dark, and handsome in the fancy pants. He was certainly a shark with a lariat, too.
You lassoed the character who tried to steal Grandpappy's beef ranch. He yanked him off his pinto pony so hard I kind of got aching bones myself.
It's so easy in the movies. Oh, well, this line of thinking isn't getting us anywhere.
No, wait a minute. Maybe it is.
Huh?
Lasso. Man. Horse.
Casey, what?
I've got an idea, Annie.
You have?
Yeah, come on, get in the car. I'll tell you about it. We're on our way to borrow something that I'll need. Then I'll get to Biff Connor and tell him honestly that he has a swell chance. I really got a chance, Casey? Bet you have every chance.
Tell me.
No, not yet. You tell me about the setup for tonight, as you got it from Reynolds' Rodman.
Well, I'm to meet him a couple of blocks from here, see, at 11 o'clock, like I told you.
That's right.
They'll be in a black sedan. They'll have the tools they'll need for the safe job. Then we drive right out to the Riker Avenue house. They say the guy who owns the joint won't be there. That's why the job's got to be done tonight. There's only a servant in the house, and he's been fixed.
Well, they don't look for any trouble then, huh?
No, they claim it'll be a cinch.
They're due for a surprise. You're the only one who's not headed for trouble.
Casey, tell me what...
No. The less you know about this whole thing, the better for you. But I want you to be sure to do 3 things, Biff.
Yeah?
First, after you open the safe, don't let any of the guys with you destroy anything they take out of it. Act scared. Insist on getting out of the house right away.
Okay.
All right, now second, when you reach the getaway car, get into the back seat.
Back seat?
Yeah. Third, take a grip on the front seat and brace yourself. Brace yourself with all the muscle that you've got.
They've been in that house over an hour, Casey.
Yeah. Monty Summers' safe must be really tough. Reynolds had to get an expert like Biff for this job.
You're sure it was Nick Reynolds that we saw go into the house?
Yes, dead sure. He went in with Biff and horse face.
Yeah.
Reynolds' presence here, Annie, means that we guessed right about his deep personal interest in that safe.
Casey, that explosion.
That's from inside the house. It means Biff has had to blow the safe.
Well, then it's open now, and they'll soon be coming out.
That's right.
You're certain the lookout didn't see what you did a while ago.
No, of course he didn't. It was the end of the block across the street when I was working in the dark.
Yeah, well, I hope the work you did worked.
Let's trust old cowboy Casey. And quiet. Keep back in the shadows. They're coming from the house now.
Head fast. Reynolds is carrying a briefcase.
I see it. The lookout set himself in the car. He's going to drive.
Started the motor.
As soon as the others get in, I'll help him make a good, fast getaway.
Well, if he doesn't start that car fast...
Leave that to me. The others are in the car now.
Reynolds has taken the front seat beside the driver.
That's perfect.
Now they're all in.
It's time for me to impersonate a cop. Here goes. Hey, you fellas in that car!
You made the driver step on the gas, Casey.
And hard. It won't be long now. That did it!
It worked, Casey. The scheme worked.
Couldn't fail. Come on, we got to get Biff out of there.
Yeah.
Hope he braced himself good.
Yeah, well, if he didn't... Oh, look, a man's crawling from under
That's
the car.
Biff. Okay, fella, it's me.
What happened to the car? There's nothing in front of us. There's nothing there now. Suddenly the thing stopped like we hit a stone wall.
I see your 3 playmates went half through the windshield.
Yeah, they're out cold. Casey, what...
Never mind. You haven't got time to ask any questions now. Around that corner, you'll find a black Ford coupe. Here's the key. Get in, drive home quick as you can. And if anybody ever asks you, say you've never been near Riker Avenue. Come on, Biff, get going quick.
Okay, pal, whatever you say, but I'd sure like to know what happened to that car.
Let's see what the sleeping Mr. Reynolds has in his briefcase.
Yeah, I want to see.
A lot of letters, canceled checks, photographs. All incriminating, I imagine. Now, Annie, we'll call the cops.
And then, Casey, you think a gal may safely hope for a bite of dinner?
For soft water shampooing, use Tony Cream Shampoo. Even in the hardest water, Tony Cream Shampoo.
Yes, even in the hardest water, Tony Cream Shampoo gives soft water shampooing that rinses away dandruff instantly. Leaves hair so soft, so smooth, so shining clean. Today, bring out the sparkling beauty of your hair with soft water shampooing. Get the handy tube or jar of Tony Cream Shampoo. It's new.
I'm terribly sorry we can't get you and Casey nothing better out of the kitchen than this cold turkey, Miss Williams. But, of course, the cook's left hours ago.
Oh, I just love cold turkey, Ethelbert. And at this hour of the morning. That's so much nicer than the dinner I expected to have at the Ritz.
Yeah, well, I'm awful sorry, Annie. I certainly gummed up your day, didn't I?
Don't you ever know when I'm kidding, Casey? I've had a swell day. A real day for Thanksgiving, because we accomplished something worthwhile.
Your pal, Annie.
Say, you ain't told me yet how you made that car stop like it had hit a stone wall.
You've seen a lot of Wild West movies, Ethelbert.
Sure.
Well, then you've seen men pulled off running horses with lassos.
Lots of times.
The horse always kept on running.
Yeah.
Well, now imagine the horse was lassoed, not the rider.
The horse had stopped dead.
And its rider would keep on going over its head.
That's what happened to the Crook's getaway car.
You lassoed that car, Casey?
Well, it amounted to that.
Casey brought a very strong 150-foot steel cable out there, Ethelbert.
Yeah, with a hook at both ends.
Yeah, in the darkness, he hooked one end of his cable to the axle of that car, and the other end to a big tree.
And I made a noise like a cop to startle the driver into a good fast start.
And when the cable paid out to its limit...
Oh, I get it. Yeah, and the only reason Biff Connors wasn't knocked through the windshield like the others was because he'd braced himself like you told him.
That's right. Even he was a little dazed when he climbed out, though.
Oh, well. Anyway, Reynolds and his mob are all washed up, thanks to the stuff in that briefcase. They can't hurt Biff Connors or anyone else.
You two had quite a holiday.
Mm-hmm.
A grand one. Have some more cold turkey, Casey?
Yeah, I think I will, Annie.
And it didn't cost you anything. You saved money by not going to the movies, to the Ritz for dinner, and to a play after.
Well, sure, that's right, yeah.
You can't need all the dough you got on you.
Of course not.
Huh? I hate to dun a friend, Casey, but there's a little matter of that long overdue October bill. And
He's got you, Casey. I'm dead to rights.
Oh. If this isn't an ending for a grand day. Here I've been roped in myself.
Well, as my sister Edna says, quote, if you give a calf enough rope, he can't be led to wool. No, you can lead a calf before he crosses. I'll be darned if I don't forget it. Unquote.
Well, all right, pal, after that. Here's what I owe you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving, Ethelbert.
Happy Thanksgiving to all.
Crime Photographer, starring Stotts Cotsworth as Casey, is directed by John Dietz. It's written by Alonzo Dean Cole and is based on the fictional character of Flash Gun Casey, created by George Harmon Cox. Original music by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Jan Miner as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. Herman Chittison is the Blue Note pianist. This is Bill Cullen asking you to listen again next week at this same time to another exciting adventure of Crime Photographer, and also inviting you to listen to This is Nora Drake, radio's thrilling serial romance, heard every Monday through Friday, 2:30 p.m. New York time, over most of these stations. Both of these programs brought to you each week by Tony Home Permanent, the wave that gives that natural look, and the new Tony Cream Shampoo for soft water shampooing, even in the hardest water. This is CBS, where 99 million people gather every week, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
This I believe. Though English is not his native language, Magnus K. Christopherson is an expert on our literature. He was born in Jutland, Denmark, and directed the Central Library there before coming to the United States, where he now heads the Hartford, Connecticut Library. Here now is Magnus Christopherson.
Since this is a worldly world, I think that some of my beliefs must be worldly, or I could not live a useful life. The final motivating power behind all living things, of course, is God. But I won't be helped unless I help myself. Every morning I wake up to a new day, and this day is mine to shape and to hold, to live earnestly and to the best of my abilities. I have been a librarian for almost a generation. From my earliest years, books have been important to me, and I have found in them both escape and help when I needed it. When I came to this country, it was not to seek fame and fortune, but to find a chance to continue my work in a wider sense. I have not been disappointed, although it meant to start up from the bottom in my adopted land. It did not take me long to discover that people are generous and kind wherever they may be. Experience has also taught me that a day's work in all its forms, whether with hand or brain, is no doubt the greatest blessing ever. And so I believe in work. There can be little strife or bitterness or dissatisfaction or deep unhappiness where people are honestly tending to their work. During my years in Copenhagen, some 30 years ago, I saw certain veins outward bound on the stage. That play left a deep impression on me. The action is concerned with boat passengers from many walks of life, underway on a voyage. Nobody seems to know how he came on board until it dawns upon every single person present that he is dead and that he is to meet the stern but just examiner before debarking on the other shore. This story comes back to me often, at odd times and in odd places, reminding me that I am responsible for my actions and will have to account for them in good time. I believe that I should not harbor fears in any of my doings, and that I must face with courage issues as they arise. Selma Lagerlöf describes a poignant incident in her memorable book, Jerusalem, where a great passenger boat is in the process of sinking, and there ensues a general stampede for the lifeboats. A woman passenger makes for an out-of-the-way, empty boat. Upon reaching it, she watches humanity from her vantage point, scramble selfishly to save themselves and pushing each other in the water. She congratulates herself on her safety and on having arrived at this comfortable location. But while sitting there, suddenly it occurs to her that the ship is about to sink and that her lifeboat has been forgotten. She herself is to die as the others whom she has been smugly watching only moments before. A more real illustration of the words of Christ, that he who tries to save his life shall lose it, could hardly be found. Yes, I believe in reading. Reading has colored and literally made my life. I have always had my nose in some book, first as a student and later in my job of dispensing knowledge. I am reminded of Cowper's words, knowledge is proud that he has learned so much. Wisdom is humble that he knows no more. I believe that the Creator of heaven and earth has put me here for a purpose. It's for me to use the talents that were given to me, use them to the best of my ability.
That was Magnus K. Christofferson, who was born in Denmark and lives in Hartford, Connecticut. He has learned well to apply the lessons he finds in literature to the problems of everyday life.
Crime does not pay.
Nothing doing, Dutch, period.
What?
Listen, Fatty. What I've got, I keep until I know it's safe to turn it over.
You are saying the Dutch signer, he isn't safe?
I'm saying you're not so bright if you don't know when the heat's on.
I know. No stupid Yankee tells Dutch when there is trouble. Just so. You give to me the diamonds. They will be safe.
Keep your pants on, Dutch boy. I'm making no deliveries till Ollie knows what's cooking. So, Smarty, you want your share of this delivery? You get on a train and come to Joe with me.
All the way I should go from Cape Town to Johannesburg. Somebody is crazy.
Yeah, crazy I am. Crazy like a fox. You want to keep your deal? You know what to do. Come to Joe and you'll find Ollie there and Runner and me. And the Sparklers. That's the story, period.
In the interest of good citizenship and law enforcement, we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer series of short subjects. In just a moment, you will hear Diamonds Trumped, starring Ralph Meeker. Now, Crime Does Not Pay, starring Ralph Meeker as Yank Sadburn in Diamond's Trump. The story begins in South Africa. Up in the Transvaal, a good many miles from Cape Town and the sea, is Johannesburg, the city that's an odd combination of the modern and the frontier, where native and Boer and British mingle. There, in a district which looked more than a little like the towns of our own West in the days of the bad men, was Keeper's Bar. This was a rendezvous for certain gentlemen of roughish exterior, but decidedly slick and sophisticated ideas on the subject of making a living. One of these gentlemen was Ollie Carstairs. To him, at his table, came another, known merely as Runner.
Ollie, okay to talk?
Why not?
Just wanted to be sure.
So talk.
Went so smooth it almost scared me.
You scared?
Oh, I don't care if there's a hitch once in a while, see, but when everything works perfect, I always think of that vacation I took stateside on account of that stoolie. That job went easy like two.
This one I planned, so it went good.
Perfect. How that dumb donkey ever got the rocks out of that mine, I'll never figure. Everybody gets searched on the way out and all that.
Yeah, I've been there, I know. And that monkey ain't so dumb.
Yeah. So, he turns the corner on a button of 7, see?
Yeah.
I gives him the high sign. He walks past like he don't know 1 from 2, see? I figures maybe it's the wrong character. Then, whoop! Right in front of me, this.
You opened it?
Natch. There's 5 big stones in there. They're gonna be buttes after they've been cut and polished.
Okay. The fella said 4, he gives us 5. We pay for 5 next time he does better. What's wrong, Runner?
Big ears. Next table.
So?
Yeah. So?
Think he caught anything?
He's practically crawling on your back.
Okay. Look, I'll take the bag. Finish your drink. Get up, walk around behind him. When you got him between us, whistle. I'll take it from there. We know he's there?
I think so, but he ain't budging.
Okay. Let's do it.
Here I go.
Okay, big ears, what do you think you're listening to?
Yeah, Snoopy, speak up.
You're crowding me, fellas.
Cool customer, ain't you?
You want I should take care of him?
I doubt if that'll be necessary.
I'll be the judge of that.
No doubt you will. Where do you want to hold court? It's a trifle noisy in here.
Yeah, he's asking for it.
You sure are, big ears. Start walking.
Which way?
The back way. Get moving, step it up.
I'm not too familiar with this place. Just a stranger in town, you know.
You follow Runner.
Hi, Runner.
This way, Snoopy.
Check.
Okay. Now, who are you?
Why? You want to identify my body?
Answer the question.
The name is Sadburn. My pals call me Yank. And tell Runner to stop shoving that piece into my ribs. I have no intention of making trouble.
Shut up. Speak when you're spoken to.
You heard the man, Sadburn. Now then, what did you hear back in there?
Only what I heard down below in Cape Town. You're in the diamond business. Your name is Ollie Carstairs. This is your boy, Runner.
Shall I give it to him now, Ollie?
Keep talking, Sadburn.
Well, there's not much else to talk about. It's obvious to anyone who knows that Runner has just delivered some goods, as the British say, from Kimberley. That you're getting a shipment ready, and I could be useful to you.
Yeah? Which way? Dead or alive?
Well, from my point of view, the answer to that one is obvious.
Look, so far you've been talking about me. Let me hear about you.
Ollie, you gonna let him...
Shut up, Runner. Let the man talk.
Ancient American custom, for which many thanks. I got out of the States on a freighter. And with a tip that someone was operating on this end in the business, which I've had some small experience.
Small?
Well, I did 5 years for it, when some stoolie tipped the dock boys and picked up the usual reward.
You know better now?
Better than to trust a stoolie? Yeah. Or anyone who might be a stoolie. Also, my cellmate was an old geezer who knew all the tricks. He taught me the best of them.
Why my business? Why not something else?
I'm interested in a big deal. I want real dough. Diamonds are big dough, but small enough to make easy handling.
Ollie, how long are you going to let this bum talk?
Look, this guy is a fellow American, Runner. Least we could do is let him talk a while with all the news from home. In fact, we might even buy him a drink.
I think I'd like that. It's much better talking in the light than out here in a filthy alley. But the drinks are on me, gentlemen. Shall we go back inside?
So the dumb monkey is happy with the dough I give him, and we got a beautiful deal.
Good enough, Runner.
When do I get to go to Kimberly, Ollie?
You don't. That's my part of the operation.
Runner knows the mine country, Yank. And our contacts know him.
Well, what happens if anything happens to Runner? Nobody lasts forever.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, and I ain't washed up yet, you know.
Okay, sorry. Just asking.
Yeah, you asked too much too many times.
Yeah, I noticed that too, Yank. Aren't you satisfied working here with me?
I want to do something. I want a decent share when the payoff comes.
You are an eager beaver.
Well, how about it, Ollie? Do I get something to do?
What do you know about Cape Town, Yank?
I can find my way around any place where they talk English.
Fair enough.
Ollie, you ain't going to send this...
I'm running this end, remember? And I think we need a new face in Cape Town. The place is lousy with stoolies. Now, Yank here's had some experience with stoolies, huh?
You can say that again. When do I go, Ollie?
Next couple of days, no rush. Now, Smitty's due in there tonight. He won't show up at the contact point for a day or two.
What do I do with Smitty? Give him the sack?
Not exactly. Smitty is one of the boys who operates over here. He's our contact with Dutch Signer.
I don't like it, Ollie. You're giving this character the whole layout.
Stick to your knitting, Runner. I said I'm running this end.
Okay.
Well, where does this Dutchman fit in?
He's second mate on a ship between the Cape and the State. Catch.
I catch. What's he look like?
Oh, so fat he has to have his belts made order. But he's smart and tough. He doesn't touch a thing unless Smitty okays it first. So day after tomorrow, you grab the train for the Cape, see? And find Smitty. You can't miss him either.
This joint changed management?
Not in 10 years.
New bouncer?
Obviously. Another drink?
Yeah, might as well. Fill her up again.
Right.
Heard a lot about the other bouncer.
That so?
Yeah. Heard he was a little guy. Knew all the tricks.
He knew a few. Drink, mister.
What, you rushing me?
You ask too many questions.
I never asked the little guy's name.
I never noticed.
Heard it was Smitty.
You hear a lot. Where?
Up in Joe.
Smitty's gone.
That I never heard.
Few days ago, he had visitors. They came to call for Smitty. He won't be back for quite a while. If you know what I mean, friend. Oh, it's you again, eh?
Yeah. Thanks. Am I seeing double on one drink?
Well, I'd say no.
Then all of that down at the other end of the bar is just one man?
Just one man.
How does he get around? By trailer truck?
By ship. All the way to the United States and back. Several times a year.
Oh. Smitty had a friend like that.
I know. The fat fellow is interested in Smitty's other friends.
Would you care to bring us together?
We are together, my friend.
So I see.
It is very foolish. You ask about me, I ask about you. Because we both missed Smitty. So we take a table and talk together, yeah?
We take a table and talk together? Yeah.
So that is the story, my friend. In your country, we make a delivery. The government agents, they pick it up. Also the delivery boy. They pick him up. Over here, Schmitty, he has gone away. Now I think it is time we make a new system. 9?
If you want to stay in business, we do.
So. Good. So I know exactly how it will be done. You will give to me the little sack with the little stones. I will take care of everything.
Nothing doing, Dutch.
Huh? But this is stupid. Ridiculous. Ollie will not like this.
Nothing doing, Dutch. Period.
What?
Listen, Fatty. What I've got, I keep until I know it's safe to turn it over.
You are saying that Dutch Ziner he is not safe?
I'm saying you're not so bright if you don't know when the heat's on.
I know. No stupid Yankee tells Dutch when there is trouble. Just so. You give to me the diamonds, they will be safe.
I'm making no deliveries till Allie knows what's cooking. So, Smarty, you want your share of this delivery? You get on a train and come to Joe with me.
All the way I should go from Cape Town to Johannesburg. Somebody is crazy.
Yeah, crazy I am. Crazy like a fox. You want to keep your deal, you know what to do. Come to Joe. You'll find Ollie there and Runner and me. And the Sparklers. That's the story, period.
Okay, Dutch, stop beefing.
Yeah.
Yank was right. We need a meeting. Smitty's in the can. The last load is knocked off on the other side. For all we know, you tipped off the government boys for the percentage.
Me? Oh, you're crazy.
Hey, Ollie, the fat boy's sore.
All right, easy does it. We fight, nobody makes a dime. Easy now.
Yeah. Sorry.
The big job is getting the stuff into the States.
This is news.
David, what's on your mind, Yank?
Anybody here know anything about medicine?
Not me.
First aid, yeah. Also, once I fixed a broken leg at sea.
How about you, Runner?
Shut your trap.
I take it that means no.
You can take it and
Keep
do it.
talking, Yank.
Well, I don't know very much, but I do know this. That a heavy layer of fat can be a good hiding place.
This is an insult. You accuse me?
Not accuse you, Dutch. Just use you.
Wait a minute. I don't get this.
It's a cinch and beautiful. We send this shipment into the States in Dutch.
But you want me to swallow?
Who said swallow? See? Razor sharp and sterilized before I came over here. We boil the stones, see? No infection that way. We make a little slit. In they go. We patch it up. Dutch takes them out himself.
9! This is impossible.
Impossible? Nuts. Why, this is the neatest idea since the racket began. Nobody will think of touching that big fat belly of yours. Yank, it's great.
Great. It's not his belly.
I gotta hand it to you, Yank. It's perfect.
9! I get out of here.
You stay till Ollie says you go or I'll blow your belly off.
Use your head, Dutch. You want your dough, don't you? And I guarantee it won't hurt any more than a scratch. Ollie?
Take off your shirt, Dutch, and lie down. Shall we go in, doctor?
In just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with Diamonds Trumped. Now we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring Ralph Meeker as Yank Sadburn in Diamonds Trumped. Much to his own surprise, Dutch found that the business of using his person as a repository for uncut diamonds was barely painful. In fact, he made a few jokes about the sudden increase in value of himself on the hoof, so to speak, and then proceeded on his way back to Cape Town and his ship. Up in Johannesburg, the three conspirators at that end, Ollie, Runner, and of course Yank, waited anxiously for word of the result. It came in the customary form of the yellow cablegram.
It's here, Yank, Runner.
So what's he say?
Everything's copacetic, I assume.
Get this. Lost weight last night. Reduced but gained in other aspects. Large amount. Returning 4 weeks. Signed, Dutchman.
Yippee, we're rid. How can we miss?
Unless Dutch takes a 9-day diet.
Don't even think that.
It was a great idea, Yank. You're solid.
Thanks, boss.
But, well, it's the same old question. We flood the market stateside with these stones. We'll not only knock down the price, the federal boys won't stop at anything.
Not even Dutch's belly?
Not even his belly. But it's a new twist at any rate.
Want some other ideas?
Shoot.
All right. I figure it this way. There are 2 ways of getting at things like this. Either you find something new, or you go back to something so old that everybody figures it's so corny nobody would dare to use it.
I don't get it.
I do. Keep talking, Yank.
Look, we just pulled a good deal with Dutch. It was new. All right. Now the switch. The oldest gag in the world.
Now I get it. New to old. Nobody figured.
Check. How about, shoes?
That one?
He like stashing the stones on their rubber heels and walking in on $1 million?
Exactly. And 3 or 4 other angles like that. We go to work now. Then when Dutch gets in, we're all set to ship him right back.
Hey, what you taking the soles off of them things for?
Nothing to it. A switch, to use your expression, on the rubber heels. The hollow part of a woman's wedgie.
Holds a lot more than the heels, too, huh?
Check. There. It's off. Now load it up. Only be careful not to mark the outside of the shoe. We'll have to seal the covering of the upper back to the edge of the sole, as if the shoe was new.
What's funny, Runner?
I was just thinking, can you picture Dutch waddling into port wearing shoes like this? Oh, brother.
Let's get the floor of this plane up, Runner.
It's coming.
Now, watch your nails. We'll have to keep them straight so as we can get the board back in the floor, see?
Yeah. It'd be great if they switched planes on us. This one stays in Africa.
I covered that. This is the only plane at the airport that'll fly in the morning.
Yeah? How are you so sure?
You'll be surprised to know how much engine trouble the mechanics are going to find when they test the other planes tomorrow.
What? Boy, oh boy, you sure think of everything.
Something is rotten, and not in Denmark, my friends. Something is very rotten.
Stop sputtering, Dutch, and talk straight.
What went wrong?
Every one of the stones from the belly, picked up from the dealers. Every one found. For what I take them in, eh? For what?
Something or someone is wrong someplace.
Maybe Dutch drinks too much. You've got a loose tongue when you drink, fat boy.
I do nothing. I get the stones where they must go. It's enough. Anybody says I am stool pigeon is liar. And I make him pay with knife. Understand? With knife.
There they are, fellas. See? Biggest lot yet.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
It's too many. No one can get in so many.
Why not? You're reducing Dutch?
9. It's just too many.
Maybe not.
Oh. Another idea, Yank?
Could be.
Ideas. And all the stones they are picked up.
Yeah, but not until after they get into the States. I think somebody's tipping the job on the other end.
What's the idea, Yank?
Look, we buy a car. A little English car.
And drive it home?
We ship it home.
9. Seat cushions is no good. This they know about.
All right. How about the bumpers?
What you mean, bumpers?
Tape to the inside of the bumpers, maybe?
No. Really inside the bumper. We hollow them out, cache the stones, seal up the outside, and we even pay duty on the car.
Nah, it's crazy. Who'd we ship it to?
We take it ourselves.
Ourselves?
Yeah. On Dutch's ship. 3 Americans come home with a car they picked up in Africa. Simple and neat.
I couldn't go.
Trouble, Ollie?
Check. A small heist job some time ago. I broke out. I got away, but I go back, they grab me. No thanks.
Well, then Runner and I could go. 2 Americans return home and so forth and so on. How's about it? Want to go to the States again, Runner?
Why not? With all the dough we got waiting for us?
Okay, Ollie?
It's all right with me.
Yeah, maybe this one, it works.
Good enough. Look, we'll buy a car tomorrow, then we'll drive it around a while and dirty it up so it looks like it's been in darkest Africa, and then all aboard for home.
Here they are. My 2 passengers for that car which in the hold has been.
Very good, Mr. Signer. This way, gentlemen.
Do many people bring cars back with them, officer?
We don't have to clear too many through. Lots of people still think American cars are the best.
Yeah, they're sure slick-looking American cars.
But this little one gets 30 miles to the gallon. More sometimes.
Not bad, but wait till it breaks down. Here we are. This is it, isn't it?
This is it. She's a beauty, you can believe me.
Every man to his own choice, I always say. Let's fill out the papers. How much does the car weigh?
Runner, do you know?
Nah, how should I know?
How about you, Ziner? Don't you check weight when you load a cargo like this?
9, only cubic footage. That's alles.
Then we'll have to weigh the thing.
Where? Is this going to hold us up?
Scales at the end of the pier. Is the jalopy in shape to be driven?
Why not? Keys in the lock and all.
Yeah, the engine sounds nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, I suppose. Careful, watch those dollies.
Duck?
Why you weigh this, sir?
Drive right onto that platform if you don't mind.
You bet.
Cut the engine, please. Dave, check this baby jalopy, will you?
Right. Can't weigh much, half a pound, maybe.
Electric scales?
Could be. What do you get, Dave?
This I don't like. Not at all I don't like.
They're in the bumper, Marty.
Stand where you are, gentlemen.
Hey, what's the big idea?
This is foolishness. What do you mean by this?
You're under arrest and you're covered, so don't move, either of you.
Quite a shipment in that bumper, Marty. The X-ray shows them clear as a bell.
X-rays? You said you'd weigh the car.
Yeah, we gave it a complete physical examination. That's no scale. It's a setup for an X-ray machine. The car's impounded as evidence, and you two are under arrest. Glad to see you back home, Sadburn. Nice work. Very nice indeed.
A stool pigeon. A stool pigeon he was all the time.
So that's why the stones got picked up inside the country. You dirty double-crossing. Wait till Ollie hears. He'll have you taken care of.
No stool pigeon, gentlemen. Just an agent of the United States Customs.
What?
You'd better come quietly, both of you, as your friend Ollie did.
Ollie?
This you do not make me believe.
The police and Joe picked him up the day after we left. He held out some of the shipment on us, but they found the stones on him. He'll spend quite some time in South Africa, and then he'll finish out his term back here. You tried hard, gentlemen, but you didn't really think you'd get away with it now, did you?
Crime does not pay. Ralph Meeker, who was starred as Yank Sadburn in Diamonds Trumped, will be back with you in just a moment. Now here in person is Ralph Meeker.
For the kind of crime we've outlined in this story, greed is a great motive. But of course, it's not only organized smugglers who involve themselves with beating the customs. This law-breaking practice is considered fair sport by many otherwise highly respectable citizens. And they all caught, almost inevitably, caught through the same kind of clever operations, the use of the same kind of scientific detection you heard about a few minutes ago. So whether it's an old label sewed into a new fur coat, a bottle of perfume wrapped in a stocking and pushed into the toe of a shoe, or the kind of methods employed by Ollie, Dutch, and Runner, it'll be well to think twice. In fact, it will be necessary to think only once if what you think is the simple phrase, crime does not pay.
Thank you, Mr. Meeker. Crime Crime Does Not Pay is written by Ira Marion and directed by Marks D. Loeb, with music composed and conducted by John Gart. Technical advisor is Burton B. Turkis. The events, characters, and names used in the story you have just heard are fictitious. Any similarity is purely coincidental. This is Bob Williams speaking.
This I believe. Malcolm Pitt is a teacher, and his great love is young people. After he graduated from college, where he had played most sports and played them well, he could have had a career in professional baseball. But his father insisted that he go into banking. Banking was not for Mac Pitt. He knew that he could get more enjoyment out of working with boys than working with dollars. He jumped at a chance to coach at a Virginia school, and later came to the University of Richmond, where he has been ever since. This is Malcolm Pitt's creed.
About 5 a.m. on the morning of June the 6th, 1944, my phone rang. A very close friend was calling to tell me that the Normandy invasion was being broadcast over the radio. He knew that our only son was in this invasion, and he realized that our hearts were heavy with concern over this event. In a moment, my wife was on her knees, and I quickly followed her example. I prayed for our son's safety, as no doubt many other parents, and somehow I felt that if God only would answer my supplications, I would accept more graciously any turn of events or reversals that might confront me. Our prayers were answered, and I have felt deeply the impact and the influence of this experience on my life. Though wounded, our son would return safely to us. Surely I owed God a debt I could never repay. It has been my privilege to work with young people nearly all of my life. I have coached in preparatory school and college and directed a boys' summer camp. When those who have been entrusted to my care or supervision have had problems that I might help them solve, then I have particularly considered it a privilege to work with them. I knew that I could become easily prejudiced, and very often was. I was and still am thoroughly capable of becoming discouraged. But with each experience, I try to remember that this isn't God's way. And I was letting him down when I permitted myself to become depressed. I told a defeated basketball team once that God didn't count failures, but he did count how we got up and carried on after each failure. I was just talking to myself through the players. I hope that someday I'll be a strong enough leader to exert an influence that'll make all boys with whom I am associated feel that the golden rule is just as important a fundamental as shooting a basket, hitting a baseball, running with a football, or mastering the art of skillful and unselfish camping. My experience with youth has meant far more to me than it has to them. In athletics, we are constantly emphasizing fundamentals, but without a thorough knowledge of the same, it is next to impossible to be successful. The home is where these fundamentals in life are first taught, and the athletic field of competition furnishes another opportunity for the furtherance of these ideals. The summer camp for boys, when the youngsters are away from home for the first time, offers another challenge to those who are engaged in this type of work. It has made me think, and it has made me realize my own shortcomings more than ever. But I have enough faith to know that with his help, even I can carry on. It has made me understand that I have a responsibility to those entrusted to my care or supervision, and my personal life might be a stumbling block to others as well as myself if I don't stay in touch with God through the church and prayer and the reading of his word. Please do not think from these thoughts that I have come anywhere close to living as I should. I do want to say that through my experience, I realize more than ever how indebted I am to God and friends and family for my many blessings, and it is my earnest prayer that all entrusted to our care will be better people from their experience.
Those the beliefs of Malcolm U. Pitt, Director of Athletics and varsity basketball and baseball coach at the University of Richmond. The boys on his teams call him Mac, and carry warm memories of his friendship and guidance into later life.
Calling all detectives. A diamond necklace, a locked safe, and a packet of pins. Those are the exhibits on this page from my casebook. The casebook of Jerry Browning, private detective. It's pretty hard to tell a private detective like me, Jerry Browning, anything new about larceny or the kind of people who commit it. I was typing a report to Consolidated Insurance about the Fenwick jewel theft when the little man walked into my office.
Mr. Browning, I am Gerald Fenwick.
I nodded. Sit down, Mr. Fenwick. I kind of thought you'd be coming around to see me. I took the unfinished report from the typewriter and put it on my desk. This is a report to the insurance company about the diamond necklace stolen from your wife, stolen from a locked safe in your library. Shall I read the report to you? Fenwick squirmed and looked unhappy.
No, I don't think that's necessary. Mr. Browning, I've been away for a few days, just returned today and learned that my wife reported the theft of the necklace. You see, well, she hasn't worn it in a very long time, and, well, to put it bluntly, I sold it some months ago. I needed cash badly.
And you didn't tell your wife? Fenwick smiled wryly.
My wife isn't the kind of woman you can tell things like that.
I shrugged. I'm afraid you'll have to tell her just the same. Fenwick passed a hand across his forehead.
Yes, of course. I'll do it today.
Okay, Mr. Fenwick. And in that case, I won't send in this report, which says just about what you told me. Fenwick thanked me and left. A couple of minutes later, I ran to the window, saw the crowd gathering in the street below. A man had been hit by a car. He was Gerald Fenwick. By the time I got downstairs, Fenwick was dead. A man admitted he'd sold a necklace his wife had reported as stolen. 5 minutes later, he was struck and killed by an automobile. John Cooley, head of the investigations department of Consolidated Insurance, was so furious he sizzled.
Why didn't you compel him to sign a statement? Now we have only your word for his admission. Mrs. Fenwick's attorneys are suing us for $35,000 insurance on that necklace. You find out where Fenwick sold it. You prove he sold it, or don't ever let me see you again.
Yes, sir. Well, Cooley was right, of course. I should have made Fenwick sign a statement that he'd sold the necklace. But he'd been so frank, and his explanation of having been out of town was so obviously the truth that... Yeah, I was really in trouble now that he was dead. Mrs. Fenwick's lawyer was a thin-lipped dandy with pale blue marbles for eyes.
Mr. Browning, I am not interested in your supposititious story. Can you prove that Mr. Fenwick sold the necklace?
There's no other way it could have got out of a locked safe.
You suggest that safes have never been burglarized?
I suggest that this one wasn't. And what's more, Fenwick told me it wasn't.
Mr. Browning, that is a matter of opinion for a court to decide.
Your Honor, we ask a postponement in order to gather further evidence.
I object. There already have been 2 postponements. Mrs. Fenwick is in need of this money.
I will grant another postponement. A final postponement until a week from today. The court is adjourned. One more postponement. And a fat lot of good it would probably do me. For weeks I'd run myself ragged without pay trying to find where Fenwick had sold or even pawned his wife's necklace. A $35,000 necklace gone without a trace. And that wasn't the only strange thing about the case. An accountant that I consulted told me
Fenwick owned the National Silver Plating Company, rated at $1 million and over. Their financial position is excellent.
Well, maybe he needed personal money.
Maybe, except that he had over $150,000 in cash in his personal bank accounts when he died.
I wagged my head sadly. And that won't do us any good in court. I gotta keep digging. Maybe you'll uncover some reason why he needed money. I was absolutely up against a brick wall. I knew the court wouldn't accept my statement of what a man now dead had admitted. And now I couldn't even prove that he needed money. Then an idea struck me. Fenwick had said he'd been out of town. Maybe he'd sold the necklace in some other city. I dashed over to his office, talked to the National Silver Plating Company's general manager. Mr. Fenwick was in Bermuda. I know he flew there and back nonstop. I groaned. Oh, you'd have about as much chance of selling a $35,000 necklace in Bermuda quietly as you would of selling a herd of elephants. And if you did somehow sell it, you wouldn't be paid in American money. I smiled weakly at the general manager. Okay, thanks. Quite all right. Glad to help you in any way I can. I stared at him. Maybe you can help me at that. This company, is it a corporation? Well, no, Mr. Fenwick owns it personally. Who gets it now, Mrs. Fenwick? I don't believe so. Mr. Fenwick's brother arrived from the West Coast this morning, and I think the will gives him majority control. You don't say. Well, thanks a lot. I drove downtown to a fancy dress shop, one of those places where they'll whip you up a number for $200 or $300. The credit manager there told me, Mrs. Fenwick, she used to have an account here. She doesn't have one anymore. I wouldn't extend credit to her for a packet of pins. Well, I may not be the world's best detective, but when a fact comes up and hits me over the head, I know enough to grab it by the throat. I checked on Mrs. Fenwick's credit all over town, got the same story every place. She had no credit because her husband had refused to pay her bills during the past year. The picture was completed for me by Fenwick's lawyer, who was not the same as Mrs. Fenwick's attorney. This is rather confidential, Mr. Browning, but Mr. and Mrs. Fenwick had been living apart for over a year. She accepted a cash settlement in lieu of dower rights, that is, her right to inherit in his will, and she has an apartment in another part of the city. I nodded. Then what was she doing in Fenwick's house while he was in Bermuda? The lawyer smiled briefly. Why don't you ask her? Don't think I won't. I asked her that and a lot of other questions. I told her what happens to people who lose things where they can find them any time they want and then try to collect insurance. Her attorney was there, and when I got through, Mr. Browning, I think Mrs. Fenwick will be able to recover the necklace and that we shall drop the suit against the insurance company. I looked him in the eye. That's fine. Put it in writing. Yeah, I got it in writing. And that was the end. Like I said, there's all kinds of larceny. And for my money, the kind that's the worst is the kind practiced by people who've got the least reason for it. Listen next time to Calling All Detectives. Mystery drama, mystery quiz, and a chance for you to match wits with yours truly, Jerry Browning, Private Detective.
Murder at midnight.
Do you hear them? Do you hear the bells?
Bells? I don't hear any bells, mister.
Well, I tell you, they're ringing.
Look, mister, the heat's got you. Oh, you're in the middle of the desert right now. There ain't any bells within 100 miles of here.
But there must be. There has to be. Murderer? No. No. No,
Midnight, the witching hour when the night is darkest, our fear the strongest, and our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight, when the graves gape open and the death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a minute in Death Tolls a Requiem. And now, Murder at Midnight. Tales of mystery and terror by radio's masters of the macabre. Our story by Max Ehrlich is Death Tolls a Requiem. I came into the room and quietly closed the door behind me.
days he'd lingered while I'd waited for him to die. Now, for a moment, I thought... But no, his tailless youth.
Hello, Arthur.
How are you feeling, Father?
I've not long to go, my son. Not long. It's only the bells that keep me alive.
The bells?
Yes, over there in the tower. I lie here and wait for you. They seem to rally me. I live for the sound of them, Arthur.
Yes, Father?
What time is it?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Peter must be there now. There in the tower, pulling on the rope, starting them swinging. The Fedwick bells, Arthur. There they are, my son. Listen to them. Your inheritance. Listen to them ring. Oh, what music they make. What beautiful, vibrant music. They give me the strength, the will to live a little longer.
How I hated him, the sentimental old fool, my father. He'd spent $500,000 to bring those bells over from Pedwick, England, the place of his birth. And with them he'd brought the bell tower, brick by brick, and the English bell ringer, Peter Griggs. $500,000, my inheritance, hung in that bell tower. There was no money left, nothing. My father had lost everything, left me nothing. Nothing but those accursed bells. Ding dong, ding dong. They seemed to mock me, taunt me, jeer at me. I hated the very sound of them. But the old fool in the bed babbled on.
Oh, my son, those bells bring back the past to me. When I was a boy in Fenwick, I heard them pull out the hour, every hour. I married your mother to the sound of those blessed bells. And I buried her to the sound of them.
Stop raving about those bells. Stop it.
There's evil in your face. Evil.
You cheated me out of my inheritance, left me penniless. You cheated me, do you hear? Listen to the bells. Yes, I know. Can't you hear them jeering at me, mocking at me? You're penniless, they say. Penniless. Penniless. Die. 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 You bought those bells, now let them ring your requiem. Stopped finally. My father lay there, dead. I turned from his white, still face and half walked, half stumbled toward the bell tower across the grounds of our estate. Something stronger than myself drew me to it. I entered the tower and stared up into the gloomy belfry. Yes, there they were, the bells, gleaming dimly in the half-light, them bronze mouths yawning down at me. And then as I stared up at them, I heard a step behind me. Oh, who's there?
It's only me, Mr. Brooks. It's only Peter.
Oh, I didn't see you standing there in the shadow.
So you've come in to look at my little brood, eh? You've come to admire my 3 children.
Yes.
Ah, Mr. Brooks, in all the world there are no finer bells than my wee babies. It was none other than Christopher Hodgson himself who cast them in the 17th century. Aye, the master himself. My father rung him, and his father before him, and his father before him.
And these are the bells my father paid $500,000 for.
Aye, and he got them cheap, sir. These are historic bells, known to all of England. And the folk of old Pedwick parted with them hard. They gave them as a gift, you might say. Your father gave the town an orphan asylum and a hospital. And now he has the bells.
And now they'll hang up there forever.
Aye, and 'tis well, for they're in good hands. Your father is of old Pedwick, sir, and like me, he loves the bells and knows what they say when they talk.
Peter, my father will never hear the bells again.
What do you mean by that, sir?
He died 15 minutes ago.
Hmm? Oh, Mr. Brooks, he's dead?
Yes.
Oh. First we are, and at first we shall return. Both is written, and so shall it be. Oh, he was a fine man, sir.
Thank you, Peter.
Both me and my children up there. We'll miss him. We'll miss him so. Oh, little Davy. Big George. Oh, my beautiful Betty, my pretty husband. You hear? The master is dead.
You call the bells by name? You talk to them?
I like a father to his children, and they talk to me.
They talk to you. The bells talk to you.
Why not? They have phones, and they have hearts and souls. Come, my babies. The good master is dead. Come, little Davy. Cry the sad tidings. Come, Big George, awake. Cry, my father. Weep, my winsome Betty. Weep, weep. The master is dead. Sing a sad song, my lady one, of the lovely one. Higher and higher. Weep, weep, my baby. Pour out your tears. Cry out to the countryside. The master is dead.
He pulled one rope, then another, and worked another bell by using his foot thrust through a loop in a circle. The bells rang and clanged, throbbed and echoed, beat against my brain, jangling tones and overtones. I looked up at them as they swayed, and their mouths seemed to accuse me of my father's death. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it any longer. I turned and ran from the bell tower. After my father's funeral, I dropped in at the office of Frederick Denny, my father's attorney and executor of what was left of the estate. There were certain things I wanted to discuss.
So you want to tear down the Brook Memorial Tower and sell the bells?
Yes, Mr. Denny. From what my father told me, they have considerable value.
Yes, Arthur, they do. Their intrinsic value, aside from their worth as historic relics and antiques, runs into hundreds of thousands. I've already had 2 offers of purchase.
You have?
Yes. One from a university, one from a museum.
Good.
However, the bells are not for sale.
What? Mr. Denny, you know the condition of the estate. Why, I'm penniless. Dad left me nothing. Nothing. Unless I can realize something from the bells.
I'm sorry, Arthur, but the terms of your father's will are quite specific.
Then I'll break the will. I'm my father's rightful heir, and whatever I can sell those bells for belongs to me.
I'm sorry, my boy. I drew up this will myself, and I can assure you it's airtight.
There was nothing I could do. Nothing. I was beaten and I knew it. And day after day, night after night, every hour on the hour, I heard those blasted bells. Ding dong, ding dong. They mocked me, taunted me, jeered at me, laughed at me. They seem to talk to me. They talked to Peter the bell ringer, and now they talk to me. Mocked me every hour on the hour. Oh, I hated them, cursed them, blocked my ears against them, but they kept on ringing and ringing and ringing until I thought I'd go mad. Finally, I could stand it no longer. I had to silence those hateful bells once and for all. I had to still their cursed tongues forever. That night late, I went to the bell tower, fevered, in a kind of frenzy, determined to blot out their voices somehow. I entered the bell tower. Peter was there ringing the bells. Peter! Stop ringing those bells! Stop it, I say!
Huh? Stop the bells?
Yes, now! Now, do you hear?
No, I will not. There's evil in your face. You don't like the bells like your father. You hate my little children. You mean them harm.
I told you to stop those bells. I'll make you stop.
Well, Mr. What are you doing? No. You're joking me.
Never ring those cursed bells again. Caught in the petty use of the bell rope. one end of the bell rope around his neck and gave him a long push. Back and forth. Back and forth. He swung in the bell tower like a grotesque pendulum, the rope cruising under his weight. Well, little Davy up there, Big George, pretty Betty, why don't you talk now, eh? Why don't you talk now?
The man going mad with the sound of the bells, shaking his fist and laughing at his bronze torches, as he stopped them from striking 12 for
murder at midnight.
And now, here is Arthur Brooke again, continuing his story.
There was an investigation of Peter's death. The county medical examiner and I went to the bell tower and looked at the bell rope on which Peter's body had been found.
The way I see it, Mr. Brooks, it's a clear case of suicide. The deceased fastened this rope around his neck, climbed up on the belfry ladder, and flung himself out into space.
Yes, Mr. Holcomb, it looks as though he did just that.
Mr. Brooks, there's one question I want to ask you.
What is it?
A man usually doesn't commit suicide unless he has a motive. Did you notice anything peculiar about this bell-ringer's behavior before this happened?
Why, no, nothing except that he was deeply depressed when my father died. You see, my father loved the bells as much as Peter did, and...
that might account for it. From what I understand, this English bell-ringer was rather a queer duck anyway.
What's that?
What?
Mr. Holcomb, the bells. They're ringing. How can they?
Take it easy, Mr. Brooks. Take it easy. The tower door is open and wind just came through. Made the bells tinkle a little.
Oh, yes, of course. It was the wind. I'm sorry.
Well, that's all right, Mr. Brooks. After what you've been through, I don't blame you for being jumpy.
Finally, the verdict was official. Suicide. And for 2 weeks, the bell tower was closed and the bells silent. It was then that I had an idea. I went straight to the executor of my father's estate, Mr. Denny, and told him what was in my mind.
Arthur, I'm sorry, but what you asked is impossible. We can't take those bells down.
But, Mr. Denny, you've read the papers. This bell ringer's suicide has made a mockery out of the tower. All the cheap publicity in the newspapers, the sensationalism, the people coming to stare at the bells. Why, I feel that my father's memory is being desecrated.
I know, Arthur. The whole thing's been very unfortunate, but we cannot let you tear down the tower and sell the bells, as you know.
Yes, I know. The will, my father's will.
Precisely. And his last wish must be respected.
Very well, let the bells stay. But for the love of heaven, Mr. Denny, can they remain silent? Must they ring any more to remind everyone in town of the tragedy?
Your father specified that they must be rung on the hour, every hour, just as they did in England. And that's the way it'll have to be, Arthur. We're already negotiating for a new bell ringer.
Mr. Denny, listen, do you hear them?
Hear what?
Bells. Yes, can't you hear them? Can't you hear them? You must hear them, Mr. Denny, you must.
Oh, yes, I do now, very faintly. Your sense of hearing, Arthur, is remarkably acute. Those bells are from the next town, Silver Valley. Sometimes you can hear them here when the wind's right.
Oh, why don't they stop? Why don't they stop talking?
Talking? Talking? What do you mean?
Nothing.
Look here, Arthur, something's wrong. You're on edge. Here. Why don't you go away for a good long rest? Say a month or so. It'll do you good.
Go away? Yes, why not? Rest. That's what I need. Rest and quiet. Away from the bells. It was principally an I knew in the mountains, 100 miles away. The food was good, and the golf course nearby. Well, I made reservations. For a week I ate, slept, played golf, rested. And then one afternoon I was in the lobby of the inn, chatting with the proprietor.
Glad you're staying here, Mr. Brooks.
Oh, yes, Frank. Fine.
Well, you've been lucky in the weather. I never did see such nice weather.
Frank! What's that?
What's what?
You hear?
Bells. Bells? Of course I do. Yes, the first James has nice rain.
But why are they ringing?
Look what's come over you. It's thundering. That's
Frank!
it.
Frank, I'm checking out.
Checking out? Now. But, Miss Brooks, you made reservations for a month.
I'm leaving now, do you hear? Right away, just as soon as I can get my bags packed. The bells. I had to get away from the bells. That was it. That was all I needed. I remember the place when I went when I was a boy. An island off the seacoast. There was an old fisherman there, a friend of mine, and I knew he'd put me up. The place was miles from anything, from the mainland, from bells. I took a train, started a small boat, and spent 3 quiet days there. Then, on the 4th day, as we were surf casting to strike back.
All right, Mr. Brooks, let's see you cast way out into the surf. Nice long one that was. Now, if a striper just hooked onto that bait of yours, why, you're going... What is it, Miss Brooks?
I hear bells.
Bells? Why, sure you do. The Coast Guard's testing a new bellboy out on those reefs over there. Oh, what's wrong, Mr. Brooks? You're as white as a sheet.
I've got to get away from here. I've got to get away. Bells. Everywhere I went, they pursued me, ringing their accusations in my ears. I left the island, got into my car, drove. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't care. I just had to get away from those bells. And then, some days later, I was driving through a desert area in the southwest. I was deep in the desert, reeling off mile after mile on the highway when suddenly from far off I heard bells. I set my teeth, gripped the steering wheel tight. Enough was enough. I'd fight them now. Fight them to the bitter end. I wouldn't let the master be tear me apart, drive me mad. No! I had to beat them, and I'd do it now! I drove on, and the bells followed me. They must come from a train running parallel to the highway somewhere over the rim of the desert. Yes, it must be a train. It couldn't be anything else. Mile after mile I drove, and mile after mile the bells followed me. I began to wonder, when would the tracks cross the highway? Tracks always cross highways somewhere. They just didn't run parallel indefinitely. And then up ahead, I saw some trucks and men. It was a construction crew fixing the road. I stopped the car and hailed the foreman.
What is it, mister?
Doesn't the train cross the highway somewhere up ahead?
Train? What train? There's no railroad in this area of the desert.
But there must be. I hear train bells.
Bells? I don't hear any bells, mister.
Well, I tell you they're ringing.
Look, mister, you must have sunstroke or something. There ain't no train within 100 miles of here.
But there
no
must
bells
be.
either.
There must be. There has to be. No. Now I knew what I had to do. I had to go back to the estate, back to the Bush Memorial Tower, and destroy the accursed bells I'd inherited. I had to close their bronze mouths, pull out their wagging tongues, smash their glittering faces. They had possession of me. They were driving me out of my mind. I had to free myself of them once and for all. Only then would I be at peace. I headed for home. In every mile, every hour, the bells pursued me, ringing in my ears, day and night, pounding and relentless. Back at the estate, I went to the sergeant's schoolhouse, picked out a heavy sledgehammer, headed toward the bell tower. The car was just coming up the driveway. It looked like Jenny's, but I paid no attention. I ran into the bell tower and climbed the ladder into the belfry. Now is the time. There was a bell leering at me, grinning at me. I'd smash them now and forever. I lifted the sledgehammer and brought it down to the first bit. I'll smash it a bit. Why don't you break? Arthur! What are you doing up there in the belfry? I'll crack them. I'll break them into 1,000 pieces. It's the last thing I do! Arthur! Don't stop, man! Stop it, I say! Stop it! Why don't they stop ringing? Why don't they stop? No! Don't say it anymore! I can't stand it any longer! I can't!
compliment you on this gentle institution of yours. You run very efficiently. One of the finest in the state.
Thank you, Professor.
Oh, and by the way, it must be close to midnight. I didn't expect to stay here this late, but it would be so interesting. What is the time, anyway?
Well, I don't have a watch on me, Professor, but... just a second. Listen.
Well, there they go again. There they go. Can't you hear them? Stop them. Stop them.
The time now, Professor Alvin, is exactly midnight.
How do you know that, Doctor?
That patient you just heard, Professor, the one who just cried aloud, is a very remarkable case. A human timepiece. He has no watch, of course, but every hour, on the hour, he hears bells.
He hears bells every hour, on the hour?
Precisely, Professor Alvin. And he's never more than a second or two out of the way.
In a bed in a padded cell and hear the bells ringing every hour on the hour. Just as he once heard the real bells strike 12 for
murder at midnight.
Remember to be with us again when death calls the racing and the clock strikes 12 for
murder at midnight.
The part of Arthur Brooks was played by Michael Fitzmaurice. With music by Bert Berman, Murder at Midnight was directed by Anton M. Leader.
This, I believe. Marcellus M. Murdoch comes from a long line of newspapermen in Kansas. His family founded the Wichita Eagle in 1872, when Wichita was little more than an Indian village. Starting as a reporter, Mr. Murdoch is now the publisher of that newspaper. He is also the executive vice president of radio station KFH in his home city. In addition, he has been prominent in aviation and has received many honors in that field. Nearly 70, he has had many experiences in his life and work which are a part of him and his creed. Marcellus M. Murdoch now shares with us the beliefs by which he lives.
One of my early recollections is of my spiritually minded mother. She tolerantly watched me go through the common youthful period of materialist thinking, when Darwin, Haeckel, Schopenhauer, and Nietzsche of the so-called rationalist school were my regular reading diet. One day Mother Murdoch said to me, "Young man, that stuff may appeal to you now, but someday you are going to wake up and find that the material is a frail, undependable reed to lean upon, that the spiritual is the only support that will not break and will sustain you." Many times since then, crises in my life have confronted me. Notably, death itself has held me in its almost sure embrace. This happened on my airplane, one of man's material things, which I was piloting, spun into a crack-up. Not then or in any of these critical situations could I convince myself that the material force had saved me. That the Lord had his arms around me was my inescapable conviction. I have come to believe that materialism is an essential part of the great whole, but as such, it is only a small part and is subordinated to the force of the all-controlling Spirit. There are those who declare that the great light of understanding of the spiritual came to them in the twinkling of an eye. In my own case, it was no such sudden revelation. The change came gradually over a period of many years. It started with the thought that it is every man's right and heritage to determine for himself, if he chooses, a set of tenets, a creed of his beliefs and his conclusions as to this and the next life's mysteries. Failing in this either from indolence or a lack of thinking power, he owes it to himself to subscribe to those beliefs already formulated by other men and afforded by the established churches. I myself, after 80 years, find that what I have thought out is far from any complete system of spiritual living. However, my experiences have led me to some very well-anchored convictions. Among them are these. I believe that truth and honesty are not only the principles that will give me most in terms of satisfying peace and contentment of mind, they are also the surest and easiest principles for me to follow. I believe that I am often too prone to emphasize my adversities and forget my blessings. These blessings may differ in kind from those received by others, but the end product, net happiness, is distributed equally by a just God. I believe that I am responsible for my actions to the full extent that I have been personally endowed with individual power, and that of all the shortcomings or so-called sins, selfishness and ingratitude can do most to damage my spiritual growth and beliefs. Finally, I have learned that each day is a life in itself, and that if I live it as near right as my lights direct, I will have nothing of the past to worry about, nor any anxiety as to the future.
That was Marcellus M. Murdoch, the publisher of the Wichita Eagle, and the executive vice president of radio station KFH in Wichita, Kansas.
Carter, something terrible has happened. So I found out too late to stop you, huh? What do you mean? You're going to tell me that you've had another period of temporary insanity, aren't you?
Yes, that's right. I don't remember what happened, but when I came out of it, I found this knife in my pocket.
Yes, I expected that.
Those stains on it. Carter, they're blood.
Now for the case of the Barefoot Banker. Today's adventure starring Ron Clark as Nick Carter, brought to you by new post-war Old Dutch Cleanser. It's 4 o'clock on a Monday afternoon, and Arthur Colby, portly, dignified, and respected, walks through the huge bronze doors of the Colby Trust Company and crosses to the curb where a uniformed chauffeur opens the door of his limousine.
I won't need the car just yet, Marvin. I think I'll walk a few blocks before going home.
Yes, Mr. Colby?
Don't close the car door yet, though. I want to get in for a moment to take off my shoes.
I beg pardon, sir?
To take off my shoes. It's such a fine day. I think I'll walk barefoot.
Mr. Colby, barefoot on Park Avenue?
Yes. Good idea, isn't it? I can't imagine why I never thought of it before.
Such a thing. You, of all people.
I tell you, I don't know, Ron. I can't even remember it. It was like waking from a sound sleep to find myself in the street, crowds laughing at me.
Can you blame them?
Richard, keep quiet.
Yes, sister dear.
And that newspaper photographer, I tried to smash his camera.
And you only succeeded in giving him a better picture than he'd hoped for. It's on the front page of every tabloid in town.
Don't remind me of it.
You with your Homburg hat, striped trousers, and bare toesies swinging that gold-headed cane at the camera.
You shut up.
Arthur, dear, please don't get excited. We'll all forget that it ever happened.
Yes, why don't you relax, old boy? Here, have a cigarette.
One of those Turkish atrocities of yours? No, thanks. I'll stick to my pipe.
Sis?
Not now, Richard. Aren't we swanky these days? Monogram cigarettes, no less.
Yes. They're not paid for either, by the way. Could you let me have a couple of $100, Lorna? I'm stone broke.
When are you going to quit sponging on your sister?
Well, if you'd make me a decent allowance, it wouldn't be necessary.
Richard, you should be ashamed. Arthur's done a great deal for you.
I know. And he never lets me forget it.
Well, if you don't like living in my house...
Oh, but I do. It's very convenient to have a sister with a rich husband, even though he is a bit eccentric.
Well, I am not eccentric.
Well, I was trying to be polite. Most people would have said balmy.
Richard, that's enough.
Well, it's not as if this were the first crazy thing he'd done. How about the way he hides things all over the house? And the time he puts a goldfish in the wall safe? If that isn't a sign of something not quite...
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Very well. I'll go. You'd better watch out, sis, or you may wake up some morning with your throat cut.
Wait,
Arthur, dear. Now, don't pay any attention to him.
Maybe he's right. Perhaps I am losing my mind.
Oh, that's nonsense. You're only tired and nervous.
But what if during one of these mental blackouts I should harm you?
Don't even think about it. Tomorrow we'll see Dr. Henderson.
Honor.
Arthur, what's the matter?
There's something in this humidor. Something buried in the tobacco.
Buried in the tobacco?
Look. It's my watch. The one I lost 2 days ago.
Well, maybe you didn't put it there, darling. It might have been Richard playing a joke on you.
No. I hid it there myself. I remember now.
But Arthur, why?
I don't know. Heaven help me, Lorna. I don't know. I should like to buy a knife.
Yes, sir? Kitchen knife?
I believe so. Yes, a kitchen knife should do nicely.
What kind, sir?
What kind?
Oh, yes, sir. Paring knife, butcher knife, carving knife?
Butcher knife. Yes, a large butcher knife.
Of course. Now we have them at various prices.
The price doesn't matter, just so it has a sharp edge. A very sharp edge. See, it's for my wife.
And that was the knife they found under your pillow, Mr. Colby.
Yes. I don't remember putting it there. I don't even remember buying it.
And do you want this to protect your wife against what you might do in the future, Mr. Colby?
No, I told you all this, Carter, so that you'd understand the circumstances. What I want you to do is find the sum of money I mislaid during another of these spells.
Oh? How much money?
$20,000.
Oh, quite a bundle. When did you lose it?
Yesterday. Tell her at my bank said I drew a personal check for $20,000 at about 2:30.
And did you?
I examined the check this morning. It's my signature, all right.
But you don't remember signing it?
I don't remember anything from about 2 o'clock until I arrived home at 5.
Go on.
The bank guard saw me leave the building at 3, but where I went or what I did, I don't know.
Then you don't know whether you were robbed or lost the money or gave it away.
I'm more inclined to think that I hid it somewhere. I do hide things lately.
Well, I'll see what I can do. But frankly, I think there's only one thing that'll get your money back.
What's that?
Luck, Mr. Colby. Just plain sheer luck. Patsy, there's something wrong with Colby's story somewhere.
Huh? What do you mean wrong?
Doesn't ring true. I'm no psychiatrist, of course, but I've always understood these mental cases followed a definite pattern.
Well?
The pattern isn't right. Up until now, he's been hiding little things about the house.
Oh, $20,000 isn't a little thing. Not in my dictionary.
No, mine. But he didn't hide it in the house this time, either.
Yeah.
That's one thing. And this business of buying a knife and hiding it is completely outside the pattern.
Do you think he's lying?
Well, it certainly doesn't make any sense that he should try to railroad himself into an asylum.
Unless what, Nick?
Unless he's planning something big. And all this is just a build-up so that he can plead temporary insanity.
You mean something like murder?
Well, could be. You have the name of Colby's psychiatrist?
Yes, it's Dr. Miles Henderson. He has an office in his home out in Eastfield.
Try to get me an appointment with Dr. Henderson. Let's find out whether he thinks Colby might be faking.
Okay.
Oh, and ask him to have Mrs. Colby there, too, will you? Perhaps she can tell us how her husband acts during these so-called periods of forgetfulness.
Why did you ask me, Mr. Carter? Has Arthur done anything violent?
Oh, no. No, Mrs. Colby, nothing like that. Yes.
And just what is this all about?
I'm coming to that, Dr. Henderson. You see, Mr. Colby has retained me to recover some money he thinks he's hidden and forgotten about.
Is that so?
How much money?
$20,000.
$20,000?
Yes. He said he drew it out of the bank during a period of amnesia yesterday afternoon. And he didn't have it when he got home.
Why...
You are going to say something, Mrs. Colby?
No, I was surprised, that's all.
You shouldn't be. I warned you that his condition was getting worse. Will you have a cigar, Mr. Carter?
Oh, no, thank you.
I believe I will.
You're a large knife to use as a cigar cutter.
Oh, I don't think so. I picked it up in the Orient several years ago.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Dr. Henderson, you've been treating Mr. Colby for some time, haven't you?
Only about 2 months. At first, he complained of headaches and absent-mindedness. Then he began to find his personal belongings in odd places with no recollection of putting them there.
Well, how about these periods of amnesia?
They started 3 weeks ago, and they're getting progressively worse. At first, he did silly things, but now his actions are becoming more ominous.
Such as buying that butcher knife and hiding it under the pillow, you mean?
Exactly. For her own safety, I've been trying to persuade Mrs. Colby that her husband should be placed in an institution.
And I can't believe that's necessary. I won't believe it. Not until...
Until it's too late, perhaps.
Richard keeps at me about it, too, until sometimes I think I'll go mad.
And who's Richard?
My younger brother. He lives with us.
Well, I'm afraid Richard's right.
He isn't right. You know what he's thinking of, Doctor. Money.
Just a minute. I'm afraid I don't follow this.
I love my brother, Mr. Carter, but I know his fault. He thinks if Arthur were in an asylum, I'd control Arthur's money.
I see. Huh. Tell me, Dr. Henderson, have you ever observed a case quite like Mr. Colby's before?
In my own experience, no. But the pattern of behavior is not really unusual.
That's what I was really wondering about.
Up to this point, Mr. Colby's condition corresponds exactly to that of a French editor, described by a Dr. Wilhelm Schweigert in his book, Psychopathic Phenomena and Aberrations.
Well, this other case, did it start and develop in the same way?
Step by step, they are exactly similar. That's why I'm so positive Mr. Colby should be confined.
Why? What happened to the French editor?
He murdered his best friend.
Did you find out anything from your conversation with Dr. Henderson yesterday, Nick?
That's enough to make me even more curious. Patsy, I want you to get me a book. It's called Psychopathic Phenomena and Aberrations by a Dr. Wilhelm Schweigert.
Nick, I'm sorry, but I can't find that book you asked for. I've called every publisher and bookseller in town. Nobody ever heard of it. I don't think there is such a book.
Oh. In that case, Patsy, get me the County Medical Association. I see. Thank you very much, Dr. Wilson.
What do you say, Nick?
You're right, Patsy. There is no such book. And there never was a Dr. Wilhelm Schweigert.
Well.
Not only that, the Medical Association has no record of any such person as Dr. Miles Henderson.
Carter, you've got to help me. Something terrible has happened.
So I found out too late to stop you, huh?
What are you talking about?
You're going to tell me that you've had another period of temporary insanity, aren't you?
Yes, last night. I started for my club about 8, and I don't remember any more until I awakened in my own room this morning.
And during this so-called period of forgetfulness, what did you do? Murder your wife?
No, thank heaven Lorna's all right. But look what I found in my pockets this morning.
Why? Well, that's Dr. Henderson's paper knife. I saw it on his desk yesterday afternoon.
Yes, they must have been there last night.
And these stains on the knife. They're blood.
That's what I mean, Carter. I'm afraid I killed the doctor.
Well, instead of being part of Colby's plan to cover up a murder, the false Dr. Miles Henderson, it appears, has himself become Colby's victim. We'll see what happens next in just a moment. Now, back to the case of the Barefoot Banker. Today's adventure with Nick Carter, brought to you by new post-war Old Dutch cleanser. When Arthur Colby recovered from his latest period of amnesia, he found in his pocket a blood-stained paper knife belonging to the man who called himself Dr. Miles Henderson, psychiatrist. Nick and Patsy have gone to Henderson's office in his suburban home to see what really happened.
Well, Patsy, he's been stabbed, all right.
I'll see.
Now, with this sort of a wound, it's strange that Colby didn't have any blood stains on his clothing.
Maybe he was wearing something else last night.
Oh, possibly. Huh. Must have talked for quite a while before the killing took place.
Huh? What makes you think so?
These ashtrays. One on the doctor's side of the desk, and another by the chair at this end. Judging by the amount of that.
What's the matter, Nick?
Patsy, these are cigarette ashes.
So what?
Colby smokes a pipe, and the doctor smokes cigars.
Oh, but Nick, where are the cigarette stubs? There aren't any.
No. At first I thought Colby was framing an alibi. Now I'm beginning to wonder whether someone isn't framing Colby.
What? You mean Henderson might have been stabbed by someone else? Someone who smoked cigarettes?
Exactly.
Oh.
There must have been something unusual about those cigarettes. Otherwise, why would the stubs have been taken away?
Well, maybe you can tell from the ashes.
Here, wait. Here's a few shreds of tobacco.
Good.
We'll take them down to the police laboratory for analysis.
Okay. Is there anything else to be done here?
Now, I want to take a look in this filing cabinet, labeled Case History. See if I can get the names of some of Dr. Henderson's other patients.
I'll get a pencil and write them down for you.
That won't be necessary, Patsy.
Huh?
Looks as if Colby was the only patient our fake doctor had.
You mean the file is empty?
Not quite. Look what I found here.
What? Yeah. It's money. A lot of money.
Certainly is. I think we found out what happened to Colby's $20,000.
You mean I gave the $20,000 to Dr. Henderson during my spell of amnesia?
I don't think it was amnesia, Mr. Colby, nor insanity either.
Carter, what are you driving at?
Tell me, how did you happen to start going to Henderson?
Why, I met him at the house one night.
Who brought him there?
I don't know. There's a big party. Many of the guests were strangers to me. Friends of Lorna's, friends of Richard's.
Okay, go on.
Well, Henderson mentioned being a doctor and a psychiatrist, so I told him about the headaches I'd been having. He suggested I come to see him the next day, and I did.
And that's when your real trouble started, wasn't it?
Yes, those headaches were the first symptoms, he said.
What kind of treatment did he give you?
Well, the usual routine, I suppose. I'd talk about my problems, and he'd explain the hidden meanings in what I said.
Wasn't there ever anything else?
Well, sometimes he'd give me a sedative first, and he'd talk to me until I fell asleep. He said it relaxed me for the actual treatment.
Ah, yes. And after one of those treatments, you'd pull some ridiculous stunt, wouldn't you?
Are you trying to tell me the doctor was responsible for the spells I've been having?
Colby, he wasn't a doctor. He was a fake.
What?
And unless I'm mistaken, the reason for your peculiar actions was not insanity. You were hypnotized. This is the garage, sir. My room's directly above. And if anybody had taken one of these cars out last night, you'd have heard it, wouldn't you, Marvin? Yes, sir. I did.
You did? Then one of the cars was gone last night?
Yes, miss. Mr. Colby took the convertible about 11:30 and brought it back a couple hours later.
Yes. According to the medical examiner, that's just about the time Henderson was killed.
How do you know it was Mr. Colby, Marvin?
I know the sound of the motor, sir. It's quite different from the other.
I didn't ask about the car. How did you know Colby was driving it?
Because it's Mr. Colby's personal car.
But you didn't actually see him.
Why,
No, sir. That's what I wanted to know. Thanks, Marvin.
Well, Nick, what now?
We're going up to the house, Patsy, for a little friendly conversation with a killer. Isn't this rather useless, Mr. Carter? We all know what happened. My brother-in-law killed Henderson in a fit of temporary insanity. I still want to know whether anyone left the house last night at 11:30. Can you tell me, Mrs. Colby?
No, I'm afraid not. My room is in the east wing. Too far away to hear the front door.
How about you, Mr. Raines? At 11:30, I was sound asleep.
I'm sorry we can't be of more help.
Will anyone have a cigarette?
No, thanks, Richard.
Mr. Carter? Miss Bowen? These are rather special if you like all turkey tobacco.
Yes. Don't you...
Oh, no, thanks. I don't smoke. I wonder whether I may make a phone call, Mrs. Colby.
Well, of course. Richard will show you where the phone is. Well, while you're making that call, Nick, I'm going to work on a little idea of my own.
What sort of an idea, Patsy?
Never mind. But I may have a surprise for you. I hope Marvin doesn't come in the garage and catch me snooping around Mr. Colby's car. He might think I'm stealing it. But there must be an ashtray in the car. And if there are any stubs from those special cigarettes in it, the kind Richard smoked, it'll prove who took this car out last night. Yeah. Here's the ashtray. Oh, darn it, it's empty.
Going for a ride, my dear?
Mrs. Colby, I
thought I'd like to watch the detective at work. So I followed you.
Oh, well, that is Nick's the detective, not me. I just wanted to see what it felt like to sit behind the wheel of such a beautiful car. Do you like it? Oh, it's wonderful. Why, how funny.
What's funny?
The rear view mirror. I can see through the back window perfectly.
That's what rear view mirrors are for, isn't it?
Yes, but Mr. Colby is tall. If he'd driven this car last night, the mirror wouldn't be adjusted to fit me.
Get out of that car.
So I was right. It was Richard.
How clever of you, Miss Bowen. But I can't let you tell anyone what you've learned.
Mrs. Colby, put down that ring, please.
Nicely done. The skin isn't broken. Her hair will cover the bruise. I'm afraid your meddling has caused an unfortunate accident, my dear. So foolish to start a motor in a closed garage. People die that way.
And as Mrs. Colby closes the garage door, Patsy lies unconscious behind the wheel of Arthur Colby's car with the motor running. We'll see what happens in just a moment. Now for the conclusion of the case of the Barefoot Banker. Today's adventure with Nick Carter, brought to you by new post-war Old Dutch Cranfield. Leaving the motor of her husband's car running, with Patsy slumped unconscious behind the wheel, Lorna Colby closes the garage door and starts toward the house.
Oh, just a moment, Mrs. Colby.
Oh, Mr. Carter.
I've been looking for you.
You have?
Thought you might like to know that your brother did not kill Henderson.
Well, of course he didn't. My husband...
No, Mrs. Colby, not your husband either. You killed him.
I killed... Oh, well, that's not a nonsense.
I don't think so. And you're not leaving me just yet, Mrs. Colby.
Let go of my arm.
You took your husband's car and went to see Henderson late last night, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
You quarreled with him about the $20,000 he stole from your husband.
I don't know what you're talking
Then
about.
you picked up the paper knife from his desk and stabbed him.
That's not true. It was Arthur who did it.
Remember the blood, Mrs. Colby? The blood that stained your dress?
No.
I found that dress with the blood stain still on it.
You're lying. I burned it this morning.
Thanks for the confession, Mrs. Colby. Perhaps we'd better drive down to headquarters now and make it official.
It was a trick. You didn't know anything.
Oh, yes, I did. But I had no proof until you gave yourself away. Come on, let's go.
No. Not to the garage.
I'm going to let you drive me to headquarters.
I won't go in there. I won't.
Oh, yes, you will. Wait till I open this garage door.
Let me go. Let me go.
Where's the motor of that car running?
I don't know.
There's someone in it.
No.
Good heavens, it's Patsy.
Well, Miss, they say I can leave the hospital tomorrow. Isn't that wonderful?
Wonderful that you're alive, Patsy. Another couple of minutes in that garage, and you'd have been my late lamented secretary.
Oh. Well, I'm sure glad you came along when you did. But tell me, Miss, how did you know Mrs. Colby killed the doctor?
I knew because Richard smoked Turkish cigarettes. But the laboratory analysis of those shreds of tobacco in Henderson's ashtray proved that they came from some ordinary popular brand.
Oh, and that eliminated Richard?
Yes. Colby smoked a pipe, so he was in the clear. So it had to be his wife.
I don't follow that, Miss. Couldn't it have been some completely unknown person?
But you're forgetting that the knife was found in Colby's pocket. And outside of Richard or Colby himself, the only person who could have put it there was Mrs. Colby.
Well, yes, but what was behind all this business?
There's a plot to get control of Colby's money by having him put in an asylum as a homicidal maniac.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Mrs. Colby hired Henderson, an ex-vaudeville hypnotist, mind you, to pose as a psychiatrist.
And by putting Colby under hypnotic influence, Henderson could make him do peculiar things the next day and then forget all about them.
He could and did. And after a few incidents like that, all before witnesses, mind you, Mrs. Colby would have no trouble at all getting her husband put away as a dangerous lunatic.
Then Richard was completely innocent.
Didn't know a thing about it. You know, the whole scheme might have worked out if Henderson hadn't got greedy and used hypnotism to make Colby draw that $20,000 out of the bank and bring it to him.
Yes, that was a fatal error.
I should say it was. Made Mrs. Colby furious.
So that's why she killed him.
That was one reason. She also saw a perfect chance to get rid of the only person who knew her plans and at the same time put her husband in the asylum as a homicidal maniac by putting the blame on him.
What a dirty frame-up.
Oh, by the way, Patsy, you get 50% of the fee on this case, you know.
I do?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because you caught the killer before I did, even if you didn't know it.
Well, I hope I never catch another one. Catching criminals is awfully hard on the head.
This is...
This I believe. Mrs. Margaret Chase Smith of Maine is the only woman in the U.S. Senate. Her distinguished political career began when she was elected to the House of Representatives to fill her late husband's unexpired term. In 1948, she advanced from the lower house to the Senate. She has become one of the most active and responsible legislators in Washington. Here now is Senator Smith.
Many nights I go home from the office or the Senate floor tired and discouraged. There's lots of glory and prestige and limelight for a United States Senator that the public sees, but there's just as much grief and harassment and discouragement that the public doesn't see. Of course, like everyone else, I went into public service and politics with my eyes wide open. I knew that any public official is fair game for slander and smear and copying criticism. I knew that ingratitude was to be expected. I knew that fair-weather friends would turn on me when they felt I no longer served their purposes. I knew that I would be called all sorts of names from crook on down. I should have known that chances were good that I would even be accused of being a traitor to my country. These things I knew, but I never knew how vicious they could get and how deeply they could cut. It is these things I think of when I'm tired and discouraged, and when I wonder if being a senator is worth all that I put into it. These are the times when I consider quitting public life and retreating to the comforts and luxury of private life. But these times have always been the very times when I became all the more convinced that all the sorrow, abuse, harassment, and vilification was not too high a price or sacrifice to pay. For it is then that I ask myself, what am I doing this for? I realize that I'm doing it because I believe in certain things, things without which life wouldn't mean much to me. This I do believe, that life has a real purpose, that God has assigned to each human being a role in life, that each of us has a purposeful task, that our individual roles are all different, but that each of us has the same obligation to do the best we can. I believe that every human being I come in contact with has a right to courtesy and consideration from me. I believe that I should not ask or expect from anyone else that which I am not willing to grant or do myself. I believe that I should be able to take everything that I can dish out. I believe that every living person has the right to criticize constructively, the right honestly to hold unpopular beliefs, the right to protest orderly, the right of independent thought. I believe that no one has a right to own our souls except God. I believe that freedom of speech should not be so abused by some that it is not exercised by others because of fear of smear. But I do believe that we should not permit tolerance to degenerate into indifference. I believe that people should never get so indifferent, cynical, and sophisticated that they don't get shocked into action. I believe that we should not forget how to disagree agreeably and how to criticize constructively. I believe with all my heart that we must not become a nation of mental mutes, blindly following demagogues. I believe that in our constant search for security we can never gain any peace of mind until we secure our own soul. And this I do believe above all, especially in my times of greater discouragement, that I must believe. That I must believe in my fellow men, that I must believe in myself, that I must believe in God, if life is to have any meaning.
That was the Honorable Margaret Chase Smith, Republican Senator from Maine.
NBC presents Frank Lovejoy in Night Beat.
Hi, this is Randy Stone. I cover the night beat for the Chicago Star. Behind the business suit respectability of the big city lies another world, a world of other standards and other laws. It's the rich world of chance, rich for all but the suckers on the outside. Your choices are many. Backroom roulette, nickel and dime policy slips sold on many a corner, and upstairs poker clubs for the tuxedo trade. For all its profit, feeding the public urge to get rich on a spin is a tough business. The men who run it live steady and die hard. The most recent boss of Operation Wager, Sligo, Joe Sligo, wanted in New York for extortion, in Illinois for murder. But all the Chicago authorities knew about him was his business philosophy, pay up or die. I was just straightening up everything preparatory to a night on the town when I remembered I'd left a story lead on my editor's desk. I walked upstairs and along the corridor toward his office when I heard steps behind me. I turned around. It was Charlie Robbins, who worked in accounting. And when he got to me, he grabbed my arm.
Randy. Boy, I'm glad I caught you.
What's up?
I got to talk to you. It's important.
Must be.
Let's go downstairs to the coffee shop, huh?
Well, as soon as I pick up some coffee.
No, there isn't time, Randy. Come on.
I knew what it was before he told me. It had happened before. Charlie was a family man and a hard worker. A guy with a future, they said. His only trouble was he liked the rattle of dice, and once Charlie started losing, which was most of the time, he'd throw every cent he had to the wolves and then start playing on his credit rating. Charlie's ventures at the tables hadn't leaked through to his boss as yet, only because his friends had kept him out of trouble with cash loans. We crowded into a back booth at the cafe, and I made up my mind I was going to let Charlie sweat this one out alone.
Gee, I'm glad I ran into you, Randy. I don't know what I'd have done if I hadn't run into you.
Well, the answer is no, Charlie.
Listen, Randy, this is the last time, I swear.
Every time I bail you out, you only get in deeper.
The last time, so help me, Randy, the last time.
That's been the story for 2 years, Charlie. What do you let yourself get in so deep for?
I don't know what it is. It's something that gets you. Every time I go in there saying, I don't care whether I win or lose. I'm just doing it for the fun of it. That's what I say. Then I start to drop some dough. It's like I'm drowning. I got to get back. Then it's all gone, and I come out of it, and there's the guy with my money. I want to reach across and grab it back. And then I remember I lost it. And I got to go home.
Can't stay away from it, huh, Charlie?
No.
Well, what about next time?
There won't be a next time, Randy, I swear. Look, Randy, I wouldn't ask you for the money, not if it was just another $50 to some guy in the club, but this is serious.
Isn't it always?
Yeah, I guess. But this is really serious. Randy, this guy, he told me, if I don't have the money by tonight, see, I'm in deep to him. Not like the other times, deeper.
How much deeper?
I'm to him for $3,000.
$3,000?
Yeah.
Oh, Charlie, you're talking to the wrong guy.
What do I do, Randy? He said if I didn't have the money...
Who said?
Phil, his name is. He's Sligo's right-hand man.
Sligo? Joe Sligo?
Yeah.
You know Sligo?
No, and I don't care if I never meet him. Randy, what am I going to do?
$3,000. You got yourself in a lot of trouble.
You know lots of people, Randy. Look. Let's say I took a loan. Now, I make $75 a week. Say I took out a loan for $3,000 and paid it back over a period of, say, 2 years.
Who are you kidding? You're loaned up to your neck.
Yeah, but I'd pay this one off first.
$3,000. A wife, a couple of kids.
Don't lecture me.
I got half a mind to let them do what they want to you, Charlie. Maybe you have a right to throw your own dough into the lake. That's your business. As far as your family is concerned, that's their business if they put up with this routine. But when you come to me for dough, that's my business. My good sense says I'll be supporting a city poker club for the next couple of years.
You're right. I got no business coming to you for money. I got myself into it. I got to pay for it. Forget it, Randy. I'm sorry I brought it up.
Sit down. $3,000.
The reason I was thinking about a personal loan from somebody, I wouldn't have to tell them about my other obligations. A loan company, a bank, I wouldn't have a chance. They want to know about the people you owe and maybe collateral.
Oh, hold on now. Come on, take it easy. Hey, take a cigarette.
Thanks. What did they do, Randy?
I don't know.
They'll kill me, won't they?
You never can tell.
I've been in debt to them for 6 months.
I can't figure how they let you play that long.
I told Phil I was getting some money from San Francisco. This Phil, he knows me. I always managed to pay up before, so he gave me credit. But 6 months.
Yeah, he's a little crazy, too.
Oh, well, I told him a good story.
I'll bet.
If he goes to Sligo tonight and tells him about it...
All the guys to get mixed up with, Sligo. Hey, wait a minute.
What is it, Randy?
Charlie, look, you say he wants the money tonight.
Tonight. Got to be tonight.
You're not going to get $3,000 cash from anybody I know. It's 11:30 now. What time do you have to have the money?
He said be at the club at 4 a.m., the latest. That's when they close up.
The police are looking for Sligo. You know that.
Yeah, I know that.
They've been looking for him for months. They're not even sure he's in Chicago.
Look, I'm not getting involved in any...
You're already involved up to here. Now, the police want Sligo. Without Sligo, you don't owe $3,000.
No. Count me out.
Okay, forget it. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do.
They'd kill me if they found out I was the one who turned him in.
You know where Sligo is, Charlie?
I didn't say that. I just said that...
How could you turn him in if you didn't know where he was? You know where Sligo is, don't you?
No, I don't know where he is.
You're never going to get a hold of $3,000 tonight.
I got to.
Never. Not a chance in a million. Get that through your head, Charlie. You'll never get a hold of that money tonight.
All right.
You know the ropes. You know the operation. Sligo can't afford to have debtors wandering around. A debtor broadcasts a debt. If people find out Sligo's getting lenient, you know what happens. Credit goes to pieces. Collection is rough stuff, Charlie. There's only one way Sligo can make good a bad debt. And that's with a gun.
You're trying to scare me.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do.
I'll get the money if I have to...
Oh, sit down. Don't be a fool. That's not the answer.
There's 50 grand up there in the safe. I've got the key to the office.
Why didn't you take it before?
I thought of it. You think I didn't think of it?
But you didn't take it.
All day I handled the stuff. We made up the payroll today. All I had to do was
You didn't take it, and that's what counts. And you're not going to take it now. Now, sit down. Now, listen to me, Charlie. You came to me for help. Now, if I'm going to help you, you've got to tell me everything, and on the level. Otherwise, I won't lift a finger.
I told you everything.
Do you know where Joe Sligo is? Now, answer me.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I want to know.
But I'm not...
There's $3,000. Now, is it possible to make arrangements to give it to him personally and instead of handling it through this,
Phil,
yeah.
Phil, no, not possible.
Why not?
Because it's not, that's all. What's this all about?
A trap, a setup.
Are you crazy?
It's safer than walking home past those dark alleys, Charlie.
What would it be? I mean, what kind of a setup?
Well, that we'd have to talk to the police about.
And if something went wrong?
You'd be no worse off than you are. What do you say?
I need a drink. Let's get out of here.
Across the street was a little bar. Blue lights and soft music. We sat down. I bought Charlie something to settle his nerves. He gulped it down, made a face, and then fell to dipping the bottom of his glass in the wet spot on the bar. I asked him if it was all settled, if he'd go through with it. He didn't answer me. I got up, called Lieutenant Peterson, and told him where to meet me. In 15 minutes, the three of us, Charlie, the lieutenant, and I, were sitting in a back booth making our plans.
4 o'clock, huh?
That's what he said, didn't you, Charlie?
Did you say 4 o'clock, Charlie? Come on, Charlie, snap out of it. Look at me. Did you say 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock, yeah.
What's the address?
He's got friends. They'll get me. If he doesn't get me, his friends will.
If everything goes right, you'll be okay. If it misses, you're in trouble. Just make sure it doesn't miss. That's the way to play it safe.
Either you get Sligo or Sligo gets you, Charlie. It's as simple as that.
I'm not going through with it.
Well, you said...
I never said I would.
What's the address, Charlie?
I'm not getting myself killed.
He'll do it, Lieutenant. He'll do it. Charlie, now what's the address? We haven't got much time. It's 1:30.
I've got $3,000 marked bills. It's right here in my pocket. It's the only way you'll ever beat him. Now, come on. What's the address?
Blanchard Hotel, 307.
We'll do it this way. You go upstairs, give him the money. Not before 4 o'clock. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I understand. Not before 4 o'clock.
That's right. At 4:05, get out of here.
And if I can't? What if I can't get out of there?
It won't matter. We'll have the place covered from a place across the street, from the door, from the room adjacent.
They'll hold me hostage.
The best way to ensure your safety is to do what you're told.
I can't do it. I can't do it, Lieutenant.
Why can't you?
They'll hold me.
Charlie, look. What's going to happen if you don't have the money?
Oh, don't tell me again. I know it.
It's very easy if you remember what to do. You hand them the cash.
Why do I have to be in there? It's the Blanchard Hotel, 307, 4 o'clock. Why do I have to be in there?
You tell me.
Well, maybe you don't. Do you, Charlie?
I'm supposed to pick up the key at the desk and wait for them upstairs. If I don't pick up the key, if I'm not in the room, they don't come in.
Well, maybe just pick up the key and then...
They'll be watching from down the hall, they said.
Here's the money, Charlie. I'm depending on you. Stay with him, Stone. I've got to get busy. It's going to be all right, Charlie. At 4:30, you'll be home in bed and you won't owe anybody anything.
I'm scared.
Take care of him, Stone. See you at 4:05.
Well, let's get out of here. What do you say?
Yeah. Maybe they're watching. Every minute, maybe they've got their eye on me. Maybe they saw me with the police.
Maybe.
If they did...
No turning back now, Charlie.
What if I told him everything? What if I get him up there and tell him the whole deal?
Now, there's a great idea. Tell him you brought the cops right to his door. He'll love you for that.
Why me? Why does it have to be me?
Because you're the guy in trouble.
Look, I got a family, a wife and 2 kids.
A little late for that.
I got to call her.
After it's all over.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
Nice evening.
Yeah. Nice evening and a great story. It's going to be a great story, isn't it, Randy? Great story.
It's a great story either way, but it's a better story with a happy ending. The people buy more papers that way.
I can't get out of it, can I? Well, maybe I can. I could make a break for it. Meet him, hand him the money, and beat it.
$3,000, except that it's marked. Marked money leaves a trail like neon. He may not like you handing him that kind of money.
What time is it?
It's 1:55, about 2 more hours.
Hello, Charlie. How are you? Remember me?
Phil.
Yeah, Phil. How you been? You're looking great. Hey, let's go down to the place. I'll buy you a drink. What do you say?
Hey, that's a great idea. Come on, Charlie. Let's go get a drink.
Just Charlie.
Oh, just Charlie?
Yeah.
Charlie and I have a couple of things to do tonight.
Oh, yeah?
Doll, huh, Charlie?
There's a car across the street. Get going.
Better do as he says, Charlie.
You, too.
Where's the party?
Don't get funny, mister. People have a way of getting killed.
NBC is bringing you Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone. A child with cerebral palsy has only half a chance. Won't you give him the other half? He needs costly, highly specialized care. He needs to learn to walk and talk. He needs to learn things everyone else takes for granted. But does he get them? He gets less than half because the care just isn't there. Right now, the tragic truth is that 92 out of every 100 persons with cerebral palsy must struggle along without any care at all. Give them a chance to lead useful, active lives. Give them a chance to become self-sufficient. That's all they ask, just a fair chance. You can help them lead active, useful lives by supporting United Cerebral Palsy, care of your local postmaster. Remember, a child with cerebral palsy has only half a chance. Won't you give him the other half? And now back to Night Beat. And Randy Stone.
It was 2:00. 2 hours early for the setup. Maybe the lieutenant was having us watched. Maybe, but the chances were slim. The best guess was Charlie and I were on our own until 4:05. The Blanchard Hotel was a crummy dump near the railroad tracks. We went inside and went upstairs to 307. Phil unlocked the door and we went in. There was nothing to do but play for time. We sat down, and through the window I could hear a switch engine doing its chores. I looked at Charlie. He was white, his eyes big with terror. Phil sat near the door smoking. We watched until 3:45. Then the door opened and closed quickly. It was Sligo, 15 minutes early. He was a big man with an ample bubble of paunch under his gabardine and a white, broad-brimmed hat and 4 or 5 extra chins packed between his jaw and his collar. His pinpoint eyes and pat smile were all business and cash on the line.
Well, do me a favor, pull down the blinds. I don't want the nosy neighbors peeking in.
Blinds, right.
Close the window. It's dusty.
Window, right.
What'd you bring this other one for?
I had to, Sligo. He and Charlie. I thought maybe Charlie tipped or something.
You tip anything, Charlie?
Me? Not me, Sligo.
I'm just a friend.
You gave me till 4:00.
Phil, you got the money?
He's got it. He was in the back booth of a bar. I saw the 3 of them. I watched them just like you said, Sligo. He got the money from some guy.
What guy?
Some guy, I don't know.
A personal loan from a friend.
I didn't ask you.
That's all I know about it, Sligo.
What's your name, you?
Stone, Randy Stone, Chicago Star.
Newspaper reporter. That's fine, Phil. A newspaper, man. Let's bring the whole city in on this deal. What'd he say?
I was scared he knew something, Sligo. I thought...
Every time you think, I end up in trouble.
You gave me till 4:00.
You got the money now. What's the difference?
Collateral.
What collateral?
He promised the guy he borrowed the money from to give him a note on his house.
Had the mortgage the homestead, eh, Charlie? That's tough.
He said he'd have the note by 3:30 tonight.
Well, that's too bad, Charlie.
You gave me till 4 o'clock.
Do me a big favor. Shut up. Phil, give me a cigar.
A cigar, you bet. Here.
Tell me, Stone, what kind of reporter are you? You go out and get the news, or you a fella out to change the world?
A little of both.
Seems to me I read something of yours sometime.
That's always nice to hear.
About a man getting sent up for murder. How it was that he got mixed up in it, right? Phil, do me a favor, sit down. Pacing makes me nervous, didn't I tell you?
Oh, I'm sorry.
People in this room, they're the only ones know I'm in town. The only ones in the world. Now, when information like this gets out, like through a mouthy slob like Charlie here, I can get into lots of trouble.
Must be a big payoff, Sligo.
Good enough. A thing like this record, I don't let get away so easy.
I get your point.
You like to gamble, Mr. Stone. You think it's naughty, huh?
Well, gambling? I don't know.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something, Mr. Stone. Gambling is a good way to get out your hate. That's why people gamble, not to get rich. You gamble your money, it's like a knife. And you gamble, can I stick that knife in that fellow, or will he stick his knife in me, huh?
Sligo, listen.
Shut up. You're an onion head. I'm talking with a man got some sense. You sit there, you listen, try to learn something, onion head. Stone, what I say, that's right, huh?
There's some truth in it.
Yeah, you bet. I'll tell you something else, Stone. Everybody gambles. Everybody. You step down off a curb to gamble. You bet your life. That's what you do. Every time you step off a curb, you say, I bet my life a car don't come along and hit me. That's gambling, huh? Ain't it, Stone?
That's gambling.
Okay, Charlie, let's have the money. Here, Phil. Count it later. I don't think Charlie's a double-crosser. He hasn't got the nerve. Phil, put it away.
Yeah, all right.
Phil, not naked. Put it in an envelope. I told you to bring an envelope.
I got it.
What time is it, Phil?
3:40 about.
Not about. What time?
3:38.
Let's get out of here.
Like to take a little bet of mine, Sligo?
You got a bet? Sure, what kind of bet?
I'll bet you Charlie and I never lived to walk out of here.
You're a pretty smart fella, Stone. I like smart fellas. Sorry, gotta be that way. I can't let you blabber now, can I?
That wouldn't be safe.
That's right. Wouldn't be safe.
Just how big a gambler are you?
I've been at it a lot of years.
Gambling? Big boys like you don't gamble.
Not unless it's for big stakes. Big enough to enjoy.
What's the biggest lose you ever took, Sligo?
100,000, one roll of the dice.
Peanuts.
100,000, that's peanuts, huh?
I'll bet you more than that.
More than 100,000?
I'll bet you our lives.
Your lives, huh?
Come on, Sligo, let's get out of here.
Shut up, Phil. Go on, make your proposition, Stone.
One hand of draw poker.
For your life.
For my life and Charlie's. There's a gamble for you, Sligo. Or are you strictly a sure thing better?
A gamble is a gamble, Mr. Stone. If I gamble for your life, what do I get out of it? I got your life right now. I don't gamble for what I already got.
One hand of draw poker, Sligo. If you win the kill. If you lose, we get out of here. 100% safe.
It's a crazy bet. I get nothing out of it.
I'll leave $10,000 for you in a checking box at Grand Central Station. Now, that's my bet. That's what you win. $10,000, Sligo. Our lives are worth more than that.
Only to you. Besides, what do you get 10,000?
I'll get it.
If you don't?
You know where to find me.
Come on, Sligo.
Shut up, Phil.
The stakes too high for you?
It's a lousy bet. I'll take it.
Let's not kid around, Sligo.
I told you to shut up, didn't I? You got a pardon him, Stone. He's no gambler. You and me, we got gambling in the blood, huh? Charlie, what about you? You like the deal?
What do you say, Charlie?
Look at him. He can't say a word. Scared, eh, Charlie? You scared? Phil, the cards.
Sorry.
Sorry? What do you mean, sorry?
Not your cards, not my cards. A new deck.
Who buys the deck?
I do.
Get the cops, maybe? No soap, Stone. I thought there was some...
Phil can come with me. There's a counter open in the lobby.
Phil, go with him.
I don't like it.
Don't have to like it. Go with him. I'll be waiting for you, Stone.
Come on, Phil. Phil and I went downstairs. I walked slowly, using up the seconds. We bought a deck of cards. I put them in my pocket. And Phil and I went back upstairs. I looked at my watch. 3:55. When we walked into the room, there was the night table dragged out in the center of the room. 2 chairs on each side. Charlie was sitting in the corner, his face white and the sweat pouring down the flesh of his throat. Sligo was all smiles. He was having the time of his life. We sat down. I put the unopened pack of cards on the table right in the middle. Sligo picked it up, turned it slowly around in his hand, and then he put it down again. And he nodded. The game was on. One hand, draw poker. The stakes are lives.
You open the pack, Stone. I trust you.
Thanks.
Nice and shiny, huh, Phil?
I don't like it.
That's because you're stupid. Cut for deal, Stone.
Cut for deal.
You first.
After you.
Okay. Queen.
Pretty good.
Your turn.
All right. 10, your deal.
No, please, no.
Shut them up, Phil.
Yeah.
No, hold it. Let him watch. If he makes too much noise, give it to him, but good. But I like when he watches.
Deal.
A 5-card draw, that's what you said.
5-card draw, that's right.
Fine. Looks funny, no money on the table.
It's a nice pot.
Phil, put 10,000 in the middle of the table. Looks good there.
Right.
How many, Stone?
3.
3? Got a pair, huh?
Maybe.
You got a pair.
Shut up, punk.
Let him alone, Phil. Let him cry.
3 cards, Sligo.
3 cards. I'll take 1. Okay, Stone. What do you got?
You first, Sligo.
I called you.
You first.
The rules of the game.
Let's see him, Sligo.
Queens over 10s.
That's pretty good.
Well, come on, Stone. Let's see that hand.
Okay. 3, 10, ace. Ace.
Put up your hands, Sligo.
Cops, you dirty double-cross.
Gotta get out of here.
Stay where you are.
Our lives against yours, Sligo. It was a fair bet.
Fair bet, yeah. Let's see that card.
But the last card? Sure.
Ace of diamonds.
3 aces, Sligo. Beats 2 pair anytime. Yeah, Joe Sligo, gambler, got fat on his own odds. The cards were always stacked, and the wheel always favored the house. But when he played a straight hand of draw poker for human life, Joe Sligo just didn't have enough aces. That's because he forgot that luck and rackets don't jibe. When you're betting murder against the chair, you're up against the United States population. And you know what those odds are. 150 million to 1. Copy, boy.
Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy, is produced and directed by Warren Lewis. Tonight's story was written by David Ellis with music by Robert Armbruster. Featured in tonight's cast were Shep Menken, Jeff Corey, Hal March, and Don Diamond. Don Rickles speaking. Listen next week at this time and every week as Randy Stone searches through the city for the strange stories waiting for him in the darkness. Night Beat came to you from Hollywood. 3 chimes mean good times on NBC.
This I believe. Anthropologist Margaret Mead of New York's Museum of Natural History is a strong, confident woman who has traveled to Samoa, Admiralty Island, Bali, and New Guinea, and come back with a wealth of information about primitive people and their customs. From a life of broad experience, she draws her beliefs.
Children used to play a game of pointing at someone, suddenly saying, "What are you?" Some people answered by saying, "I am a human being," or by nationality, or by religion. When this question was put to me by a new generation of children, I answered, an anthropologist. Anthropology is the study of whole ways of life, and to which one must be completely committed all the time, so that when I speak of what I believe as a person, I cannot separate this from what I believe as an anthropologist. I believe that to understand human beings, it is necessary to think of them as part of the whole living world. Our essential humanity depends not only on the complex biological structure which has been developed through the ages from very simple beginnings, but also upon the great social inventions which have been made by human beings, perpetuated by human beings, and in turn give human beings their stature as builders, thinkers, statesmen, artists, seers, and prophets. I believe that each of these great inventions, language, the family, the use of tools, government, science, art, and philosophy, has the quality of so combining the potentialities of every human temperament that each can be learned and perpetuated by any group of human beings, regardless of race, and regardless of the type of civilization within which their progenitors lived, so that a newborn infant from the most primitive tribe in New Guinea is intrinsically capable of graduation from Harvard, or writing a sonnet, or inventing a new form of radar as an infant born on Beacon Hill. But I believe also that once a child has been reared in New Guinea, or Boston, or Leningrad, or Tibet, he embodies the culture within which he is reared, and differs from those who are reared elsewhere so deeply that only by understanding these differences can we reach an awareness which will give us a new control over our human destiny. I believe that human nature is neither intrinsically good nor intrinsically evil, but individuals are born with different combinations of innate potentialities, and that it will depend upon how they are reared to trust and love and experiment and create, or to fear and hate and conform, what kind of human beings they will become. I believe that we have not even begun to tap human potentialities, and that by a continuing, humble, but persistent study of human behavior, we can learn consciously to create civilizations within which an increasing proportion of human beings will realize more of what they have it in them to be. I believe that human life is given meaning through the relationship which the individual's conscious goals have to the civilization, period, and country within which one lives. At times the task may be to fence a wilderness, to bridge a river, or rear sons to perpetuate a young colony. Today it means taking upon ourselves the task of creating one world in such a way that we both keep the future safe and leave the future free.
That was Margaret Mead, a native of Philadelphia, now a resident of New York, who is equally at home in the councils of learned and scholarly societies and with the cultural and economic aspects of Aboriginal life. Her underlying belief is that people are people everywhere.
Listen while the makers of Rexall drug products and 10,000 independent Rexall family druggists bring you Dick Powell as Richard Diamond, private detective.
is your Rexall family druggist, speaking to you for the 10,000 independent druggists who have made the word Rexall part of our own store names, and who recommend and sell the 2,000 or more drug products made by the Rexall Drug Company. Like Rexall aspirin, for example. There's no faster-acting aspirin made than Rexall aspirin. When swallowed with water, Rexall aspirin is ready to go to work for you even before it reaches your stomach. Quality like that is what we family druggists are talking about when we tell you you can depend on any drug product that bears the name Rexall.
Good health to all from Rexall. Now, your Rexall family druggist brings you a transcribed half hour with Richard Diamond, Private Detective, starring Dick Powell.
No. Oh. Yeah?
Well, what's the matter with you?
Oh, hello, Helen. Nothing has gone right all day.
I called your office, but you left an hour ago. What took you so long getting home?
Well, I had to stop by the laundry. Didn't have any clean shirts.
Are you forgetting we're supposed to be at my mother's at 7?
No, honey, I'm not forgetting. What time is it now?
A little after 6.
No, nuts.
What in the world's wrong?
Well, first of all, I haven't seen anything that looks like a client for 2 weeks.
That's unusual.
I only got 2 hours sleep last night.
You're complaining?
Oh, no, honey.
Then what is it?
Well, that stupid laundry gave me the wrong bundle. I can't go over to your mother's with my bare chest hanging out.
Well, can't you go back and get the right bundle?
Well, it closes at 6.
Oh, be practical. It was the laundry's fault, so use one of the shirts out of the wrong bundle. They'll have it clean.
No, what if it doesn't fit?
Make it fit. Now, I won't have you being late again.
No, well, all right. I'll see you at 7.
I still love you.
Then tell your mother not to suggest Monopoly again. I have to get some sleep tonight. The shirt wasn't bad. A little short in the arms, but with my charm bracelet, no one would notice. I shaved, cussed a little, showered, cussed some more. Really let loose with some choice ones while I got dressed and kept it up all the way over to Helen's. She walked out in a green number that plunged so far it could have been arrested for attempted suicide. Sure cure for cussing.
Like it?
The guy who went off the Golden Gate didn't have half the drop.
Oh, stop perspiring and come on.
Helen's mother lived in a 40-room vault on Long Island. We had a wonderful dinner. Soup, salad, pheasant on the glass. The only thing missing was cracked crab. Until Helen's mother suggested Monopoly, then I nearly shelled her and ducked her in the mustard. About 1 o'clock, my eyes felt like 2 3-minute eggs lost in a sand pile, so I gave up and went to sleep right in the middle of a tricky trade for my railroad. Helen apologized, looked at me hatefully when I suggested a piggyback ride to the car, and by 2 o'clock she dropped me in front of my flat on 53rd.
You were horrible.
Oh, well, how did I know your mother had the electric company, too?
Oh. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Kiss?
You can't even keep your eyes open.
This is going to stop me. I do my best work with my eyes closed.
No. All right.
Honey, are you growing a beard?
That's my mink coat.
Oh. Night.
Good night.
Evening, Fred. Your name Diamond?
Yeah. What do you want?
I got some laundry that belongs to you.
That's nice. Nothing like getting your laundry at 2 o'clock in the morning.
You got mine.
We'll stop around about noon tomorrow and we'll swap.
I'd like it now, friend. I gotta leave town.
Oh, look, I'm a little tired, friend.
I want the laundry.
Yeah, well, you're dealing with a bad customer. I just traded Pennsylvania Avenue for one lousy railroad.
What?
Come back tomorrow, friend, and I'll give you your laundry and a detailed explanation.
I want the laundry now.
Now, look.
You look.
Well, if anything could have opened my little old sleepy blue eyes, it's that lovely gun. You look divine together.
Now let's go up and get the laundry.
What's the matter? You got the only long underwear with sequins?
Move.
And I moved. Up to my little flat with the laundryman sticking close enough so I wouldn't forget the big gun in his hot little hand. We went in and traded bundles.
You opened it, huh?
Well, what did you want me to do? Put it on a table and offer up prayers?
You're a little too wise for your own good, but I got what I wanted. No hard feelings.
Yeah, well, I hope your socks fall down.
You just stay put until I'm out of the building. Thanks, friend.
Well, any other time, I might have done something ridiculous, like chasing the guy or calling Walt up and complaining about the inadequacy of ye old police department. But this wasn't any other time. It was after 2 in the morning, and I was tired. Sure, it was unusual to trade laundry at that hour, but I was in no condition to try and figure it out. So I brushed my teeth, left my clothes in a neat pile in the corner, and stumbled into bed. Oh, no, I'll never get any sleep. I'm coming. Yeah?
Mr. Diamond?
Yeah, who is it?
This is Mr. Green, Mr. Diamond.
Well, thanks for calling, Mr. Green. Good night.
Oh, wait, please wait, Mr. Diamond. This is Mr. Green, the man who owns the Bluebell Laundry.
Well, how's business?
Can you come over to my apartment right away?
Why?
Someone's going to try and kill me.
What time is it?
3 o'clock.
Look, can't you hide in a closet or something until noon?
I tell you, someone's going to kill me.
Well, get in the closet and close the door. If anyone opens it, take a bite out of the nearest coat and head for the closest bright light.
This is serious, Mr. Diamond. I haven't got much time.
Well, if you don't think you can look like a moth, maybe I'd better drop around. What's your address?
Savoy Arms, apartment C. And hurry, I'm desperate.
Well, if you're just half as desperate as I am sleepy, you're really in trouble. I'll be right over. I stumbled back into my clothes and downstairs and a quick walk down the park where I could grab a cab. Then 10 minutes later, I was knocking at the door of apartment C. No answer. I was about to try the door when it opened. Mr. Green?
You're too late.
Mr. Green. He opened the door all right, but that was as far as he got. He just slid down and stretched out on his stomach, head turned sideways, thick glasses pushed up at an angle, his weak eyes trying hard to see everything there was to see before they closed for good. I kneeled down beside him.
Jones. Wrong laundry number. Jones.
Green. Well, everybody dies. He'd been shot just under the heart from the back. A warm breeze made me turn and look out the open window on the far side of the room leading out to a fire escape. I went over and looked out. Nothing. But it was a good bet that the killer had shot Green from there. I put in a call to Walt, and in 10 minutes he was standing over Green.
And this is the guy who owns the laundry and gave you the wrong bundle.
That's right.
How do you always get mixed up in things like this?
Well, it's a talent.
Did he say who he thought was after him?
Oh, he just told me that he was in fear of his life.
Well, what about the guy who shoved the gun in your face and took away the bundle of laundry?
Oh, about my size. Had a hat on, light gray suit, brown eyes, heavy eyebrows, high cheekbones, very sharp features.
Now, let's go down and run through the gallery, see if we can get an identification.
Okay. But first, let's take a run down to the Bluebell Laundry. Might be a good idea to find out what this is all about.
Here it is, Lieutenant. Bluebell Laundry.
Oh, he read the sign. If a guy with fangs and a long black cape answers, drive a stake through his heart.
Or shoot him with a silver bullet.
You keep your suggestions to yourself, Sergeant, or I'll open this door with your head.
These keys are in better shape.
I tell you, we can't use them. If no one answers, then we got to get a search warrant.
Why?
Because that's the law.
What is?
That we got to get a warrant to search the laundry.
Well, what do you want to search the laundry for?
What do I want to search it for? Because a man's just been killed.
Okay, so what? What's that got to do with the laundry?
The guy who was killed was the guy who owned the laundry. You told me yourself it had something to do with getting the bundles mixed up and that guy who stuck you up tonight.
Okay, but you can't just go busting into a laundry just because of a stupid little old hunch.
What do you mean, stupid?
You could be wrong, you know. Just because you think you might solve this case, that's no reason for you to go busting into a laundry.
Well, why not? The answer to this whole thing might just be in that laundry.
Well, you've certainly been right in the past.
No, not always.
Oh, most of the time, Walt.
Just lucky.
Well, if you think it's best, here are the keys.
You understand.
Oh, sure, Walt.
Lieutenant.
Yeah?
Oh, nothing.
You stay out here, Sergeant.
Well, we're in. I hope the commissioner doesn't hear about it.
About what?
Breaking and entering.
Breaking? What? Why, you...
Fiend?
Yes.
Walt hopped around for a while until he ran out of steam, and then we went to work and took the laundry apart. The way it stacked up, I had gotten the wrong bundle of laundry. The guy who'd stuck me up until 2 a.m. had gotten mine. So the bundle that I had gotten by mistake figured to be pretty important. There must have been something else in there besides clean shirts.
So, Green, the owner, made a mistake.
Oh, but that's kind of hard to do, Walt. You got to have a ticket to get your laundry.
Ticket with a number on it?
Well, sure. And it should correspond to the numbers on those bins. Hey, wait a minute. Before Green died, he said something about a wrong number. And a name.
What name?
Jones. Now, look, when I brought my laundry in, Green wrote my name and number down in a book. Let's see if we can find that book. Walt took one side of the shop and I took the other. Inside of 10 minutes, we had the book. We turned to the page with deliveries dated for the day before and found my name.
Now, here it is. Richard Diamond.
Laundry number 99. That's right. That was the number on the ticket I gave him. Then Green didn't make a mistake.
But he'd have to give you the wrong bundle. He couldn't get mixed up with the bins, Mark.
Walt, turn that book around.
Turn it around?
Upside down. Now, if that number was on a ticket and I handed it to you upside down...
66.
Yeah. Who's listed under 66?
Say, it's not on this page. Here. Well, I'll be...
John Jones. No address. John Jones. Green had said Jones before he died. Jones had the laundry ticket marked 66. Green had evidently looked at my ticket upside down and given me Jones's bundle.
Green couldn't have known anything important was in that bundle or he wouldn't have made the mistake.
And then why was he killed?
Doesn't figure.
Well, if he was just a go-between, it does. He didn't put the important something in the bundle, or he would have just held the bundle until Jones arrived and then given it to him.
Then the bundle came wrapped with the something in it.
Now, look, Walt, you know how these small places work. They send their stuff out to a large laundry and cleaning plant.
Yeah, but which one?
Hey, I got a shirt on it from that wrong bundle. I bet it's got a laundry mark.
Should be on the collar. Let's see.
No, let's not strangle me, huh? Let me unbutton a few buttons. Great Scott. Well, go ahead, Gravy.
Let's see. Yeah, there's some writing on the collar.
Read it out and I'll write it down.
86A45L. What kind of a laundry number is that?
Find out, and you might have the guy who slipped something in that bundle and was responsible for Green's death. We went through the rest of the place, but found no evidence to show us what big plant Green sent his laundry to. I bowed out as gracefully as possible and went home to get some sleep. It was 4 a.m. when I stumbled into my flat with just one thought in mind: sleep. And I got it in a hurry.
Rick, come on now. Snap out of it.
No.
Come on, sit up.
No, leave me alone.
Somebody sapped you.
No, I don't care if you split my head in sections. I went to sleep, didn't I?
What happened to your shirt?
My shirt? Oh, so that's it.
What's it?
The shirt. That's what the guy was really after.
Suppose it was Jones?
Well, sure it was. Walt, when he traded bundles with me, he didn't have any way of knowing that I'd taken a shirt out of it. That shirt was what made that bundle important.
Those numbers on the collar. I checked. They weren't a laundry mark.
You still got them?
Yeah.
Well, they sure mean something. Let's see if we can figure out just what. I gave Walt a pencil and paper, and we put our two brilliant minds to work trying to figure out the numbers that had been written on the collar of the shirt. Just numbers with two letters, A and L. Easy problem for two brilliant students of criminology.
I got it.
You have?
Let's take the numbers down to the decoding department.
Oh, that's what I like. Perseverance, a sharp mind, and nothing's too tough for us. Well, come on, Art. You've been working on those numbers for nearly 5 minutes.
Well, I've been sick. Could this be a code for some kind of a pickup?
Yes, it could be.
Well, let's use times and dates. First number is 8.
Well, today's the 8th day.
Well, the letter A could stand for A.M.
6A, 6 a.m.
Could 88, 6 a.m. And 46L could be the where.
46th in any street beginning with L.
Out of the way corner.
46th and Lexington, and that's not out of the way.
Oh, I'm sure glad you broke that code, Walt.
Experience and a little common sense. Come on. You and me are going over to 46th and Lexington.
You and I, Walt.
I could stand for idiot.
That's another code, Arch. Fourth letter in Levinson.
Oh, come on. We haven't got all morning.
You're listening to Richard Diamond, Private Detective, brought to you by the makers of Rexall Drug Products and your Rexall family druggist. And here he is.
Every woman will tell you that the ideal home antiseptic is one that will serve as a mouthwash, gargle, and breath deodorant, all with equal effectiveness.
And that's exactly what Rexall MI31 does.
Well, now how did you know that?
Because I read all about it in your big ad in this week's issue of Life.
Say, isn't that a good ad? A whole page crammed full of top-quality Rexall products. Some of them at special bargain prices, good all this month. And every one of them just as reliable as Rexall MI31, America's popular all-round mouthwash. What's more, Rexall gives you a full pint of MI31 at the same price as other leading brands of smaller quantity.
That's why I've learned to watch for your ads. I learn all about these wonderful money-saving values. And they always remind me of so many things I need, too.
Then maybe I'd better tell our listeners that this same full-page ad is appearing in current issues of Collier's, Look, Saturday Evening Post, and Country Gentleman. Check it carefully. And remember, you can depend on any drug product that bears the name Rexall.
And now back to tonight's adventure with Richard Diamond, Private Detective, starring Dick Powell.
Yeah, this is a good spot.
No one on the corner of 46th and Lexington yet.
What time is it?
5 minutes to 6.
No, I hope we figure this out right.
Car 86, car 86.
No, that's us. Car 86, Levinson, go ahead.
Sergeant Otis wants to speak with you, Lieutenant.
Go ahead.
Lieutenant, I checked and found out where the Bluebell Laundry sends its cleaning. 2 companies, Monarch and the Superior Cleaning and Dyeing Works. Mr. Ralph Collins owns Monarch, and Mr. Arthur Levin owns Superior.
Find out the addresses of the plants and the home addresses of the owners, and then put a stake out at the homes of the owners. Don't pick them up, but stop them if they're trying to leave.
Wilco, Roger, and out.
Oh, I'm surprised he didn't get tired of Roger and use McGillicuddy just to be different.
Hey, Walt, there's our boy.
Huh, Jones?
Yeah, across the street on the corner. Same guy who got the bundle from me. Let's go.
No one else yet.
He's waiting for something. It's about 2 minutes to 6.
Yeah. A car pulling up. Jones is going over to it.
Get going.
Guy in the car gave Jones a package. They spotted us.
You get the car, I'll take Jones.
Stop! Stop that car!
Stop, Jones! Jones! Okay.
Car got away, but I put some bullet holes in it.
Drop the gun, Jones.
Okay. Okay, I'm hurt bad. Don't shoot again. Get me an ambulance, would you?
Walt, he's got another bundle with him.
I'll get back to the car and get the wagon.
I think he got me in the stump.
You want to talk?
Yeah, okay.
What's in the bundle you got from the car?
Junk. 100,000 in morphine.
How did Green figure?
Just a go-between. He worked for the big boy. Took our money, sent it in with an order for the stuff.
Instructions in the collar of one of the shirts.
Yeah. Wait.
You killed Green?
Yeah.
Who's the big boy? Jones. Jones.
The wagon's on its way.
He's dead.
What was he picking up?
Narcotics. Well, Walt, we know the code was put in the laundry bundles at one of the cleaning works.
Well, go to both of them and check.
Yeah, and you can never tell what else might turn up. We waited until the wagon pulled up and carted Jones off, then we headed across town toward the first of 2 stops, the Superior Cleaning and Dyeing Works. 7:30 when we pulled up in front and let ourselves in with one of my pass keys.
This is the only one we can check quietly. They open at 8, don't they?
Yeah. Got a half an hour to make a noose for a pretty big operator. So we went to work on the Superior Laundry. Guys like Jones were caught every day, but the big boys, the ones who dished out the stuff from the top, the big syndicate operators, were tough to catch. And here was a chance to catch one. We got into the office and found the order books. Jones appeared in nearly every one. This was the place where Green sent Jones's laundry.
But it still doesn't prove enough. We've got to prove that the code was slipped in the bundle from this plant. Then we got to find the guy who does it.
Well, come on. We got to work fast. This joint opens up in a half an hour. Hey, Walt, hold it. Car pull up outside.
Yeah. I can see it out of the window. Rick, it's the same car that passed the junk to Jones. The one I put the bullets in.
Hey, he's coming in.
He's coming up here.
Get in the other room.
Yeah, leave the door open.
Hello, Mr. Levin? Yeah, Charlie. There was some trouble. Cops were waiting. Yeah. I'm down at the place. I got away clean. Jones had the bundle on him. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, I'll blow.
Let's take him.
Hey!
Hold it.
He's making a break.
Stop!
He's got a gun. Blow him up. Well, he's had it.
Yeah. Know him?
Charlie Usher. Narcotics record.
This sure turned into a mess.
Yeah. Let's go see Mr. Arthur Levin of Superior Cleaning and find out what kind of cleaning works he's been running.
Hi, Lieutenant. We got the whole place surrounded.
Levin hasn't tried to leave.
He's been out of the house once. Went to the garage.
Have anything with him?
Well, now when he came out, went in with a big box.
All right, let's take him.
You better get out of sight, Otis. You'll see that uniform and get jumpy.
Get down there in the end of the porch.
All right.
Yes?
Police, Mr. Levin, we'd like to talk to you.
Oh, well, come in.
Thank you.
I was just going to my office.
Where is your office, Mr. Levin?
I own the Superior Cleaning and Dye Works.
You do laundry for Mr. Green's Bluebell Laundry?
I do work for a lot of laundries. I believe that Mr. Green happens to be one of them.
Know a man named Jones?
I know more than one Jones.
How about a man named Charlie Usher?
Charlie... No. No, I don't know him.
He called you 20 minutes ago.
No, he didn't call me. You're very much mistaken. Now, would you mind telling me what this is all about?
How many workers do you have at Superior, Mr. Levin?
Well, about 40.
Any of them have police records?
No, not to my knowledge.
And you don't know Charlie Usher?
No, I told you I do not know him.
Well, he had a key to the front door of your laundry. Used your office phone.
I can't help that.
He called to Mr. Levin.
But I have never talked with a man named Charlie Usher. I
what was in that box you brought in from the garage?
Box? Books. I brought some books in.
Where are the books, Mr. Levin?
Well, I put them in the shelves in the library.
What did you do with the box?
I burned it. I don't like dirty boxes lying around the house.
You went outside and burned it?
Yes, in the incinerator.
My men said you only came out of the house once, Mr. Levin.
Then your men are mistaken. I went out twice, once to get the books, and the second time to burn the box. Look, what right have you got to hide outside my house and watch it like a bunch of burglars? I know my rights. I want to call my lawyer.
Oh, sure, Mr. Levin. You go right ahead and call your lawyer. In the meantime, we'll see if anything was burned in the incinerator.
It would be burned out by now. That was 20 minutes ago.
About the time Charlie Usher called
you. He did not call me. I don't even know him.
Well, even if you did burn the box 20 minutes ago, Mr. Levin, there'd still be some smoking ashes.
And if it wasn't burned in the incinerator, Mr. Levin, we'll take this house apart piece by piece until we find it.
I'll go take a look.
Wait a minute.
Yes, Mr. Levin.
Look, I'm not sure. I burned the box.
Then you didn't go outside the second time?
I don't know. I don't remember. I'm all mixed up. Look, you got to give me time to think.
What if you didn't go out the second time? The box is still in the house.
Look, please do this. Give me time.
What's in the box, Mr. Levin?
Books, I told you, books.
Where is it?
I don't know. Leave me alone now. Now, will you leave me alone? I know my rights.
Start taking the house apart.
No, please.
Where's the box?
Please.
The box, Mr. Levin, the box.
Yeah, where's the box?
Under the sink.
Where under the sink?
There's a sliding panel under the kitchen sink.
Narcotics, Mr. Levin?
Yes. Oh, I'm ruined.
You marked the shirt collars and sent Charlie Usher to deliver the stuff.
That's right. I had 10 laundries working for me. Green was one of them. I'm ruined.
Oh, relax, Mr. Levin. You can be happy about one thing. Jones and Usher didn't cooperate like you did. And they're both dead.
Again, here's your Rexall family druggist.
If you're often troubled with acid stomach, or if you're looking for a gentle, non-irritating way to achieve regularity, try Rexall Milk of Magnesia. Pure, mild, creamy smooth, and with no unpleasant earthy taste. Rexall Milk of Magnesia is justly popular. Buy the economy size, quart bottle. It costs only 69 cents at Rexall drugstores everywhere. And remember, you can depend on any drug product that bears the name Rexall.
Good health to all from Rexall. Richard Diamond, Private Detective, stars Dick Powell in the title role and is written by Blake Edwards, with music composed and conducted by Frank Worth. Featured in tonight's cast were Ted DeCorsia, Wilms Herbert, Clayton Post, Sidney Miller, Virginia Gregg, and Stacey Harris. Richard Diamond, Private Detective, was transcribed in Hollywood by Jaime Del Valle. This is Bill Foreman inviting you to be with us next Wednesday at this time when we will again bring you Dick Powell as Richard Diamond, Private Detective.
Hiya, beautiful.
Get lost, Bristlepuss. You need a shave.
But I have shaved. What else do you want me to do?
Silly boy, she wants you to go Stag.
Go Stag? But why?
Because Stag is Rexall's exclusive line of men's good grooming aids, like Stag Brushless Shave Cream. No fuss, no massage, just smooth it on, and presto, you get a clean, close shave. Your face stays smooth and whiskerless all day long.
I'll do it. I'll go Stag.
That's it. Join the Stag line now at Rexall drugstores everywhere.
Yes, to make girls care. Go Stag.
Three chimes mean good times on NBC. There's entertainment in store for you every Wednesday night on NBC. In addition to the action-packed adventures of Richard Diamond, beginning next Wednesday, listen to Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman, returning over most of these stations with their delightful series, The Halls of Ivy. In 4 weeks, laugh with Groucho Marx and You Bet Your Life on NBC.
This, I believe. Margaret Sanger was the founder of the American Birth Control League in 1921. For her work, she was once indicted and again arrested. And while she is still a controversial figure to many, she is admired throughout the world for her crusading singleness of purpose and integrity. Here now are the personal beliefs of Margaret Sanger.
This I believe, first of all, that all our basic convictions must be tested and transmuted in the crucible of experience. And sometimes the more bitter the experience, the more valid the purified belief. As a child and one of a large family, I learned that the thing I did best was the thing I liked to do. And this realization of doing and getting results was what I have later called an awakening consciousness. There is an old Indian proverb which has inspired me in the work of my adult life. Quote, "Build thou beyond thyself, but first be sure that thou thyself be strong and healthy in body and mind." Yes, to build, to work, to plan to do something, not for yourself, not for your own benefit, but beyond thyself. And when this idea permeates the mind, you begin to think in terms of the future. I began to think of a world beyond myself when I first took an interest in nursing the sick. As a nurse, I was in contact with the ill and the infirm. I knew something about the health and disease of bodies. But for a long time, I was baffled at the tremendous personal problems of life, of marriage, of living, and just of being. Here, indeed, was a challenge to build beyond thyself. But where was I to begin? I found the answer at every door, where I began to believe there was something I could do toward increasing an understanding of these basic human problems. To build beyond myself, I must first tap all inner resources of stamina, of courage, of resolution within myself. I was prepared to face opposition, even ridicule, denunciation. But I also had to prepare myself in defense of these unpopular beliefs. I had to prepare myself to face courts and even prisons. But I resolved to stand up alone, if necessary, against all the entrenched forces which opposed me. I started my battle some 40 years ago. The women and mothers whom I wanted to help also wanted to help me. They, too, wanted to build beyond the self in creating healthy children and bringing them up in life to be happy and useful citizens. I believed it was my duty to place motherhood on a higher level than enslavement and accident. I was convinced that we must care about people. We must reach out to help them in their despair. For these beliefs, I was denounced, arrested. I was in and out of police courts and higher courts, and indictments hung over my life for several years. But nothing could alter my beliefs, because I saw these as truths, and I stubbornly stuck to my convictions. No matter what it may cost in health, in misunderstanding, in sacrifice, something had to be done, and I felt that I was called by the force of circumstances to do it. Because of my philosophy and my work, my life has been enriched and full. My interests have expanded from local conditions and needs to a world horizon, where peace on earth may be achieved when children are wanted before they are conceived. A new consciousness will take place. A new race will be born to bring peace on earth. This belief has withstood the crucible of my life's joyous struggle. It remains my basic belief today. This I believe, at the end, as at the beginning of my long crusade for the future of the human race.
Those were the beliefs of Margaret Sanger, honorary chairman of the Planned Parenthood Federation of America.
Mr. District Attorney, starring David Bryan. Mr. District Attorney, champion of the people, defender of truth, guardian of our fundamental rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
And it shall be my duty as district attorney not only to prosecute to the limit of the law all persons accused of crimes perpetrated within this county, but to defend with equal vigor the rights and privileges of all its citizens. This is David Bryan. In a moment, we'll bring you another case from the files of Mr. District Attorney. But first, a word from our sponsor.
And now, here is our star, David Bryan, as Paul Garrett, Mr. District Attorney.
As district attorney for this county, it's my job to prevent crimes as well as solve them. But sometimes you can't prevent them. Sometimes you can only pick up the trail after the violence has begun. In this case, it began 18 hours before the first police report reached my office.
All right, stop the car. Stop the car, I said.
Ellie, put that gun away.
Ellie. Shut up, Grandpa. Come on, pull up right here.
Ellie, don't be stupid. Take the gag out of his mouth. Give the man a chance. You can't.
Why? Would he give us a chance? Look at him. Look at his eyes bug out. He thought he knew all about us. Well, here's something he didn't know.
Ellis, you can't kill a man in cold blood.
No? Watch. See, Grandpa? See how easy it is?
I knew you were a cheap little no-good punk, Ellis, but I didn't think that you were a murderer.
Come on, let's dump him out of here. Here, I got his wallet.
One thing I hate, Ellis, is a killer. I hate killers.
Now, look, Grandpa. You're in this up to your lower plate. Now, come on, give me a hand. Grab his ankles. Come on, will ya? Okay. Swing his feet out. I'll dump him right here. These high weeds.
You think the law won't find him here?
Sure, they'll find him. But let them try to find us. Come on, shove. There. Pleasant dreams, Mr. Hicks. Okay, shove over, Grandpa. I'll drive back.
I hate killers, Ellie. I hate killers.
I hate killers, too. They're easy to hate when it's your job to study their handiwork and track them down. Harrington and I picked up the tracks on this case in the county morgue.
22 years service in this place still gives me the willies. You too, Chief?
Sure does. This one, Harrington?
Next one.
Well, let's take a look.
Yeah. 3 shots at close range. Like maybe he was looking right down the muzzle of the gun. Somebody else's gun.
Is he a John Doe?
Yeah, he was until an hour ago. His wife identified him. His name is Hicks. Alfred Hicks. He's an insurance investigator. He was, I mean.
Well, what company?
Globe, I think. Yeah, that's what Lieutenant Padway said. Globe Casualty Company. I asked Miss Miller to call him and find out what claims Hicks was working on.
Good. Where was the body found?
In a vacant lot behind a motel way out on South Street. No identification on him at all. His wife called the cops when he didn't come home last night. Padway and Homicide brought it down here for a look, and that's what she saw.
Harrington, go on over to Homicide and find out what Lieutenant Padway's learned from Mrs. Hicks. I'll call the office and see if Miss Miller's learned anything from the insurance company.
Okay, Chief.
We'll see you later. You mind if I use this phone? Thanks.
District Attorney's office.
Hello, Miss Miller.
Oh, Mr. Garrett, we've been waiting to hear from you. I've just been talking to the chief investigator at Globe Casualty.
What did you learn?
Well, he said Alfred Hicks had been assigned to a stolen car claim. A big stolen car claim, incidentally.
Oh? How big?
An auto carrier loaded with 4 new sedans was hijacked about 14 miles from the factory.
Do we have a report on that?
We do now. It's on your desk.
Fine.
Mr. Hicks had been checking the want ads for any slightly used cars that might be for sale. His last call had been at the Sleep Easy Motel on South Street.
Well, that was his last call, all right.
He was seeing a private party named Thompson.
Did you call the motel?
Yes, sir. There was a Mr. and a Mrs. Thompson. They checked out about 7 last night.
That figures. Look, if Harrington calls in before I get back to the office, send him over to the Sleep Easy Motel.
Yes, sir.
Tell him to get a description of the Thompsons and any leads on where they might be. I'll see you in about 20 minutes.
sedans, 1 convertible, delivered direct from factory to Central Auto Sales, Woodside. Check.
Take off.
See ya.
Hey, turn off that printing press, will you, Grandpa? Hello?
Hello?
Turn it off, I said.
I heard you, Sonny. I heard you.
About time.
Yeah, about time. Sure, yeah.
Hello? Hello, Ellie?
Yeah.
This is Irma, dear.
I know. What's up?
A load just left for Woodside. 3 sedans and a convertible.
How long ago?
About 20 minutes. Ellie, I wish you'd forget about this one. It's too soon after the last job.
Look, Irma, will you forget it? I know what I'm doing.
But you promised me faithfully that there wouldn't be any more.
I'll see you tonight. Now, what are you looking at, Grandpa?
The loving young husband hangs up on his wife.
Why don't you mind your own business, huh?
Irma is my business. She's my granddaughter.
And my wife.
And if I'd had my say about her marrying
You didn't have any say. You were doing time, remember?
Yeah, I was doing time, all right. But I'd done my time. And anyway, I was up on a good, honest forgery rap, not murder.
Shut up.
Bad enough Irma's married to a car thief. How'd she like it if she knowed you were the killer, too?
Shut up, I said.
Easy, Sonny, easy. I ain't afraid of that gun of yours. I already messed up my life. I ain't got much left to lose, except... maybe Irma.
Listen, Grandpa. A truck left the plant 20 minutes ago for Woodside. We got about an hour and a half to meet it. Let's get going.
Not me, Sonny.
What do you mean, not you?
I told you before, Ellie, that gun don't scare me. I got nothing left to lose.
Except Irma.
Yeah, except... You know, Ellie, I really believe you'd do it to her, too. I really believe it.
You coming with me or not?
Yeah, I'm coming. You want this last batch of pink slips?
Yeah.
And run them off yourself.
We got enough time? The truck should be here.
You make the decision, Sonny. It's your deal, all of it. You print the slips, you make the phony license plates, you plan the hijacking, you do the killing.
Okay, this is the spot. The auto carrier's just coming over that hill. Think you can drive this truck, Grandpa?
I drove it last time, didn't I?
Yeah. But I paid a lot of loot for this wagon, and it's helped me get a lot more. I'm sentimental about it.
I didn't think you could be sentimental about anything.
Here comes our sucker.
Hey, buddy! Matter, Mac? Got trouble?
Yeah, rear axle's locked. Can you give me a hand?
Yeah, sure thing. I hope you got a good flashlight on you.
Yeah, these things always happen after the sun goes down, it seems. It's the rear axle.
Let's take a look here. Yeah. Looks all right to me. Maybe it just... Hey!
Okay, Grandpa, you drive this one. I'll drive his.
What are you going to do with that driver, Ellie?
Don't worry, I'll take care of him. Get going. Go on, Grandpa. Move, will you? Go on!
Morning, Miss Miller.
Good morning, Mr. Garrett.
Harrington checked in yet?
Yes, sir. I'm typing up his report now. He's in your office.
Good.
Hi, Chief.
Hi. How did you make out, Harrington?
Well, I got kind of a vague description of the Thompsons, if that's what their name is. I gave it to Miss Miller. The guy is young, early 20s, curly hair, nervous, smokes a lot. Girl is the same age, about. Has one of them new-style haircuts all over her head, you know. Reddish hair. Kind of pretty from what the motel guy said, but you know how motel guys are.
Oh, that's vague, all right.
One thing he said, though, he said there was an old guy with the Thompsons. Seemed to be a relative, like a grandfather or something.
Excuse me. Yes?
Did you order the morning papers, Mr. Garrett?
Oh, yes. Will you bring them in, Miss Miller?
All of them?
Yes, please. All of them.
Why the papers, Chief? You cleaning out bird cages or something?
You and I are going to check the want ads.
Want ads?
Another auto carrier was hijacked last night.
No kidding. That makes two.
Yeah, 2. From the same assembly plant. 4 brand new cars on it. 2 hijackings, 2 murders.
2 murders?
The driver of the auto carrier. He was found on the highway last night. Harrington, you and I are going to check the ads for slightly used automobiles, just the way that insurance investigator did.
Only he ended up in the morgue.
Here are the papers, Mr. Garrett.
Oh, thank you. Well, Harrington, I wonder where we'll end up.
And now back to David Bryan, starring as Paul Garrett, Mr. District Attorney.
Two auto carriers had been hijacked. 8 brand new cars had been stolen. And 2 men had been murdered in cold blood. For 3 days, Harrington and I and other members of my staff tracked down every lead, including the ads for slightly used cars. No luck. 3 days. 4 days. 5 days. Somewhere in this teeming city, our killer was still free. Free to kill again.
Ellie, I wish you'd stop that pacing. Ellie, please.
Your wife's talking to you, Sonny.
I heard her.
Ellie, will you stop?
Stop what? Stop this. Stop that. Stop the car deal. Stop the phony licenses. Stop living, why don't you tell me?
Now, there's an interesting idea.
You shut up. I've taken enough from you.
Ellie.
Oh.
Ellie, what's wrong with you?
Oh, you know, Irma. This is a big job. We still got 2 cars left over from the last job. And so far all week, we only got 1 call about our ad. An old-maid school teacher didn't even have her driver's license yet.
Oh, I knew you shouldn't have pulled this job. I didn't even know about the first one till after it was done.
There's lots you don't know, honey.
Shut up, Grandpa.
Ellie, you promised me there wouldn't be any more. I only helped on this one because you promised me you'd stop.
Will you?
No. No, I won't forget it. You won't let me.
I won't let you.
No. You're so tense and nervous.
What do you expect? Hot cars stashed away all over town and us holed up in this flea bag motel waiting for want ads to pay off.
Maybe we should have stayed at the Sleepeasy. Lots of action there.
It's more than that, Ellie. It's the way you talk, the way you look. You look so cold and hard, like... Well, like a real...
Like a real what? Go on, say it.
Like a real crook, she means. Or even a killer.
I told you to keep your big mouth shut.
Ellie, stop it!
I've taken all from this old man is going to give.
Ellie, put down that gun. Ellie! Ellie, that gun, where'd you get it?
Here, Irma. Just see that this grandfather of yours doesn't allow up this whole deal. I don't trust him.
Yeah. Hi. You the party running the ad for the slightly used car?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm the party.
That's your missus in there?
Yeah. The car's out here.
My name's Harris. Joe Harris, Mr.
Johnson. That's Mrs. Johnson.
How do you do?
I am Mrs. Johnson. And this gentleman?
Mr. McCabe, my wife's grandfather.
Howdy.
Yeah, glad to know you, Mr. McCabe. McCabe, eh?
Oh, Mr. McCabe isn't feeling so good. My wife has to take care of him.
Oh, that a fact. Well, I have a little foot trouble myself.
Yeah, well, the car's right over here.
Oh, not bad. Not bad at all.
It's practically brand new. Hasn't even been all broken in yet. Just a few hundred miles on it. See?
Yep. That's what this speedometer says, all right. Hey, these tires are in good shape, too, ain't they?
I told you. Not even broken in yet.
Why are you selling it, Mr. Johnson?
Oh, you know, I bit off more than I can chew. I need the cash. Sometimes a guy gets in over his head.
Yeah, sometime they do. You mind if I look under the hood?
Go to it.
Say, that motor is clean, all right. Real clean. Almost like it wasn't even used.
I told you. If it was any newer, you'd have to pay new car prices.
That's one I've seen today. How much?
2,000 flat.
1,800? I'm interested.
2,000. Take a ride in it, and you'll see why.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'll go home and get the missus. Then we'll let her drive it. If she likes it, I'll go get the $2,000. Okay?
Well, you know, a car like this won't last long, and that ad brings in a lot of calls.
Okay, I'll give you a deposit. I'll hold it for an hour or so. 25, all right?
Well, no longer than an hour.
It's all the cash I got on me. Mind giving me a receipt?
Oh, no, not at all.
Here, this envelope is good enough. It's only for an hour.
Okay. There you are. You won't be more than an hour, will you?
Oh, don't worry. I don't want to lose a deal like this. I'll get the wife and see you before an hour, maybe.
This your car?
Yeah. I'll sure be glad to get rid of this clunk. See you.
District Attorney's office.
Harrington, Miss Miller. Chief there?
Yes, he is. Just a moment.
Hello, Harrington.
Take this motor number down, Chief, before I forget it.
Okay.
356P7338. You got it?
Got it. Wait till I check in on the motor numbers of the stolen cars.
How about a raise and pay it matches?
356P733. It matches all right. Where did you find it?
Thompson's name is Johnson now. Young fellow in his early 20s, curly hair. Has a pretty wife with him, reddish hair. And an old geezer supposed to be a grandfather.
Where are they, Harrington?
The Stateside Motel on Highway 99 near Academy Street. I gave him $25 in marked bills to hold the car for an hour.
All right, we'll be down there in about 25 minutes. I'll get Lieutenant Padway and some men. You keep your eye on the place and see that they don't check out all of a sudden.
That's the Stateside Motel, Highway 99 near Academy Street, right?
Right, Chief. They're in cabin number 3. And tell Padway not to use the sirens.
Okay. Good luck. Did you hear all that, Miss Miller?
Yes, sir. I'll call homicide.
Tell Padway I'll meet him in front of the building.
Yes, sir. Come on.
Well, I think we finally hooked the sucker. Hey, where's the old man?
He said he was hungry.
I told you to watch him. I told you.
For Pete's sake, Ellie. Grandpa just went to get us some sandwiches.
When?
Why, you were talking to that man.
Wait.
Let go of my arm.
Why'd you let him go? I told you not to let him go. I told you to watch him.
Ellie, stop it. Let me go. You know what I think? I think you're going crazy. I think you're going right out of your head. Why should you be so scared of Grandpa? What did he ever do for you to be scared of? Why should you be so scared of everybody and everything? Why, Ellie? Why should you be so...
Both of you. You and that old man. You're both trying to turn me in so you can take over. That's why you let the old guy go, so he can call the cops. Get away from the door.
No!
Get away from that door. I'm so hungry now.
That's gone, Ellie. Wait.
Get away from the door, I said.
You are a killer, aren't you? Like Grandpa said, you're a real killer. Only I didn't believe it. I didn't believe you could be that rotten and crazy.
Move. Come on, get over here.
Hiya, Mr. Johnson. Guess I got back a little early, huh?
Yeah, Harris. You said about an hour.
Well, I figured it this way. On the way home, I said to myself, why don't I buy the car and surprise the little woman? That'll keep her happy and me happy and... What are you staring at?
That police car out there.
Police car? Oh, that's probably just...
There's two of them.
He's a gun, mister! He's got a gun!
Are you... Get in here. Get in fast.
That won't help you, Buster.
Get in, I said. You're on top, ain't you? Ain't you?
What'd you expect, dancing girl?
See, I brought some friends.
All right, Johnson, or whatever your name is. Open up.
Watch it, Chief. He's going to shoot.
That won't help you one bit, chum. We've got more men, more guns, and more patience than you have.
Give up, Ellie. Please. Please give up. Please.
Go on and shoot, coppers. I got my wife and one of your men in here with me. If I get it, they get it. Now, we'll just wait and see.
It's no use, Ellie. Give up, please.
All right, you two. Get over there, away from the window. Go on. Over against that wall. Both of you. Okay, now stay there. If you try to separate, I'll kill you.
Hey, Johnson. How do we know our man hasn't gotten it already?
Not a word from either one of you. Not a word.
Prove he's alive, Johnson, or we'll blow that cabin sky high. We mean it, Johnson.
Ellie, let him talk. Let him say something.
Okay, copper. Tell those Boy Scouts you're still alive.
It's all right, Chief. I'm right here, and so is his wife. But you better do like he says, Chief, because he's armed and he's dangerous.
All right, that's enough.
Hey, what the... Thanks for the chance. It's my turn now.
Hey, let go. Let go my arm.
Drop it. That's a good boy. Now, come on, killer. Your wife will open the door and you'll walk through it.
Some pals you got, copper. They know you're in here, but they shoot anyway.
Sure. How do you think they wanted to hear me talk? They could tell where I was, so they could shoot where I wasn't. Just enough to get you off guard.
You all right, Harrington?
Yeah, I'm okay, Chief. Here's our gun-happy friend.
What are you going to do with him?
We'll let the court decide that. You're his wife?
Yes.
I imagine you're involved in all this, too.
Yes. Yes, I am.
I hope you'll be willing to tell us about it.
She don't have to tell you a thing. She's my wife. She can't testify against me.
No, but I sure can, Ellie. I can tell plenty.
That's the grandfather, Chief.
I can tell you gentlemen all you want to know about this cheap, two-bit murdering little punk.
He's in this, too. He's in it up to his dirty old neck.
I told you 100 times, Sonny, I got nothing left to lose. I'd like to do one decent service to the world while I still got the chance.
Grandpa, no. No.
Sorry, Irma, honey, but putting Ellis away is it. I hate killers.
This is David Bryan. I hope you enjoyed this case from the files of Mr. District Attorney. I'll be back in just a moment after this message from our sponsor.
Now, here's the star of Mr. District Attorney, David Bryan, with a word about the program you have just heard.
Perhaps you read about it in your newspapers. The young man we call Ellis was tried and convicted of first-degree murder, 3 counts. His wife, Irma, and her grandfather, Harold McCabe, are now serving sentences for grand theft. Now, this is David Bryan inviting you to join us when we present our next case, based on the facts of crime from the files of Mr. District Attorney.
Mr. District Attorney was originated by Phillips H. Lloyd.